disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. Hopefully people will help me remedy that. But fellas, we've got ourselves a very special show today. We had a couple of interesting fights last night, but of course the big drama here is something that has to be addressed in regards to some of the hijinks, pound for pound hijinks that seem to really have riled people up there in the internet-osphere, as I like to call it. We're going to get to all of that, but before we do that, fellas, we're going to be opening up the phone lines too, by the way. StreamYard, for those of you that are outside of North America, you can call in via that pathway as well. But before we get to the phone, let's get the business of the way, fellas. You know the drill. Hit the like, subscribe. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you can certainly do so with the Super Chat feature. But the most important thing, like I said, is that you continue to like, subscribe, spread the BDA gospel. If you can join the BDA membership program, that's fantastic as well, because you get more bang for your buck. You get emojis, special badges, that whole type of thing. But spread the BDA gospel. We're all on the true path to the Crimson Cross here, fellas, and it starts with being honest, with being truthful. Most importantly, being truthful to yourself as well. And so that's one of the main themes that we're going to be exploring in this episode here. Like I said, we're going to be opening up the phone lines. And I want to get to a little bit of the Twitter drama that's going on to show you why boxing is in the state that it is in. It has nothing to do with most of you guys out there in the chat. Of course, you guys are solid, even though you're degenerates. But at the end of the day, you understand boxing. Most people on Twitter don't. And we have to address that. When people talk about, man, why the Fae ain't find the best? Why the best ain't find the best? Well, it's because you're the same assholes that keep talking about the O. No, I'm not talking about the asshole that you stare into every day, that you lick up, because that's what you learn to do in the hood. I'm not talking about that, degenerate scumbags. I'm talking about the zero, the undefeated record. They're all obsessed with the undefeated record. Oh, Loma lost twice. So what, he's not a good fighter anymore? He's not pound for pound? That's why all these other guys don't want to take a risk, because they're afraid that if they lose once, these same degenerates are going to jump on them and go, well, wait a minute, he got lost. How can he be pound for pound? Man, he can't be pound for pound. I've had enough of that. Had enough. And so we're going to point that out today, because it's time. We've taken the high road with a lot of these people, and it doesn't work. So it's time to really step it up a little bit. Step it up, be a little bit provocative, and really let these people know just exactly what's wrong with boxing and the fact that it is themselves that are wrong with boxing. I got Boxing Chief jumping by. What the I didn't expect that. Chief, are you there?
Yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, Chief. Well, listen, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Hopefully you're doing fantastic as well. This is going to be a little bit of a drama episode, at least in the very beginning. You know, if it doesn't go well that way, then we can always switch it up. But just warning you right off the bat, I'm going to be addressing this whole Devin Haney pound for pound controversy.
Right. Yeah.
So if you want to,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you want to start off, that'll give me some time to open up the phone lines here. But
Okay,
it's
well, you
up to
open up the
man.
phone lines. I mean, I understand his feelings are the way they are. I mean, you could say feelings hurt and make it sound like he's acting like a child, or he's mad as a grown man. However you want to describe that. Man's been a pro for a long time. He's wanted to fight the best for a long time. Maybe whether or not certain matches were made. Well, he claims to be his own promoter. So some of these softer touches he's been having, he doesn't bring anything to the table. I've been telling guys this. He wasn't bringing a championship to the table outside of the WBC when they handed it to him. He doesn't bring a lot of ticket sales because people aren't. He's not selling out arenas. He's just not. The reason why that last one was so high is because he fought Kambosos in Kambosos' hometown. It's not that he doesn't sell anything, but he's just not a mainstream draw, in which case, why is Lopez or any of these other guys going to want to fight him? It's not the skill that I think they're scared of. It's the fact that what he brings to the table is supposed to be for a super fight, but he on his end doesn't bring, without the zone behind him, doesn't bring super fight money, so there's not a lot of money on the table to make it to be what it's supposed to be. Having said that, I'm sure he's extremely frustrated with people not wanting to fight him, that he's not a mainstream draw, that people are kind of dismissing him because he's been fighting since he was 17 years old. He's 20 plus years old now as undisputed lightweight champion, and expects some respect that comes with that because the champion is supposed to be respected. So I can understand his frustration inside of his head, but he needs to step back and take a look at what have I accomplished, where am I at, who have I beaten, who have they beaten, and put this out there in a debateful argument instead of hateful speech of, people just hate me, and it comes with the territory and all the Mayweather excuses that come out there. Just be a grown-up and realize the fact that greatness will come with winning and being consistent, and stop expecting it all now, because just because you turned pro when you were 17, you weren't world-class championship material until like 2 or 3 years ago. So you're going to have to be patient and realize the fact that you still have to earn some more respect, apparently, even though you've got a title. It comes with time, and it comes with competition. It comes with being consistent. And lastly, it comes with constantly winning. It's not about the O, but it's about Duran still won more than he lost. Leonard won more than he lost. Did they lose? Yes. But they won more than they lost, and they won in a lot of big fights. He's got to keep going. He's had one big fight. One big fight. That doesn't define a career.
That's it right there. It takes more than, if you win more than you lose, you can still be pound for pound. But some of these people just don't get that. And I'm going to show you some examples, because I'm not just coming at, pulling some shit out of my ass and making it up. I'm going to show you what people on Twitter are saying. The people that are defending Haney for the most part. Shout out to Mr. Wakanda Tax Collector. Whoa, you got some taxes to collect today. Let me tell you. He says, will BDA Boxing eventually sell any black Max skull caps in the foreseeable future, or real men take chocolate and cheeks? Love Southpaw 773. I'll pay. Well, listen, hey, Mr. Wakanda, if you find a big enough market for those type of things, maybe we'll. The fuck is? But shout out to Mr. Wakanda Tax Collector for expanding his BDA membership program. Really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. The fuck was that? All right, well, listen, fellas, the phone lines are open. So if you want to call in and defend Haney or chastise him, because let's recap what happened here. Okay. Devin Haney was kicked off. I don't think he was even ever in the Ring Magazine Pound for Pound 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he was.
I'm gonna go along with you. I haven't had Ring in a while, but I haven't noticed him being. He definitely was never close to the top 5.
Right. So there's a plethora of competition out there. Don't listen to these people that tell you that boxing is dead. Just look at the pound for pound talent that's out there, and some of the guys that couldn't even make it into the Ring's top 10 list. I'm talking about Chocolatito. I'm talking about Estrada. I'm talking about Tyson Fury. Because I do think they rate heavyweights in their pound for pound. They didn't have Kiraguchi in there. They didn't have Shakur Stevenson in there. They didn't have Stephen Fulton in there. So there's a lot of fighters that didn't make the list. Sorry. There's a lot of talent out there. And it's also based on not only who you beat across time, more than just 3 years, but how you're beating them. Are you going out there and beating people up and really taking their soul away? Or are you bending at the waist all the way down below the other guy's waist, which is illegal, jabbing and clinching your way to a boring decision, and not even trying to get a guy out of there? Are you the type of guy that goes the distance with fighters that have been stopped before and you can't even wobble them? Because if that's the case, then you don't really have much of an argument to be top 10 pound for pound. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Well, and in that case also, in this particular case, are you going the distance with guys that have been stopped 8 times prior to in combined losses, and they're smaller weight classes? You turn pro at a higher weight class than these guys won championships at. Now, Devin's not a knockout puncher. I get that. Not everybody has to be. But tell you a guy that I kind of liked is Ivan Robinson. And against Gotti particularly, he would get the angle outside of Gotti, and he'd throw these combinations and knock his head all over a place like it was like a buoy in a hailstorm. And no, he didn't put Gotti down. He didn't put him out, and he swelled his eyes up. But he put the combinations together and added the pressure. So if you can't knock the guy out, you still don't. This generation just automatically migrates towards defense.
Exactly.
Well, no, you can have some offense too. Andre Ward was not the most exciting fighter, but there were fights like against Bika when he went in there, he kept his glove up, he'd stay in the pocket a little bit, and he'd just, instead of throwing one punch because he couldn't hurt you, he'd throw like 5 or 6, and he'd get your attention with those, and they were nice looking combinations. They're aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't mean I was ever a fan of Andre Ward. He made up for his lack of power with combination punching, and he didn't produce knockouts. But some of these some fights, not all, but some fights were a little more exciting than others when he would do that. There's more facets to the game than just knockouts or pressure fighting or just beating a guy up. You can take their soul by defeating them mentally, like what Shakur Stevens did to Valdez. And I discussed this on the show the other night when Bucho was hosting. He owned Valdez. And he owned Valdez because he made sure he won the foot battle. He established his jab. And when he got those 2 elements right from the beginning and Valdez didn't have an answer, the rest of it was easy for him. It wasn't because he ran and held and clinched. No, he established the 2 points he needed to do from the get-go to make Valdez have to fight out of a deficit. And then it just became easier for him. Well, if that's the case, that anybody, not everybody can do that. I get that. But if you want to be a pound for pound, then that's what you do. Because pound for pound's for the elite.
Right, but good points. But when I say soul taking, I mean mixing in skill with some hurting. Shakur Stevenson didn't do that. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about soul taking. And you brought up Ivan Robinson. I want to bring up Steven Johnson. Because I brought him up when I was analyzing the Shakur Stevenson versus Valdez fight. Look, Valdez got outboxed by Conceição. So Shakur Stevenson outboxing Valdez, been there, done that. You got to bring something else to the table, right? That's what I'm saying. So when I brought up Stevie Johnson, the reason why I brought him up is because watch his fight against Angel Manfredi. He stood his ground. He wasn't running around. He was he did the same thing with Castillo, Jose Luis Castillo, twice. Right. A big puncher who goes to the body. The last place you want to be with Castillo is on the inside. Stevie Johnson did that for 24 rounds and made it close. He didn't run. So that's what I'm saying here. There's a difference between a guy clinching and jabbing his way to a decision and not even trying, and then a guy going out there and putting everything, real skills together and beating up people. That's what it is. Shout out to Steve Munoz for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, Haney hasn't KO'd anybody in 3 years. No power. Loma would have stopped Cambosos and will KO Haney. Saludos, BDA. Well, there you go, Steve. I agree with most of that. I mean, look, we still got the fight to make between Loma has to get past his own fight, and Haney still has business in Australia. But hopefully that fight happens. But here's the other thing. Haney is in the same position as Lopez was a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago. Can't make 135 all that much. There's rumors coming out. His father even said, when they were having problems with the WBC, said, we might just move up to 140. He's a big dude, boiling himself down to have a size advantage at 135. So that's why they're desperate to make all these fights. And that's why ultimately, once Lomachenko was taken out of commission by fighting in Russia, in the Ukraine, or not fighting, but, patrolling, whatever he was doing over there, because I don't think he was in the front lines. That's when Devin Haney said, okay, I'll take the deal that he took, because he'd already been upstaged. So Haney's been following Loma's lead. He doesn't make decisions himself until he sees Loma make a decision himself, and then he tries to work around it. And then finally, when he got upstaged, and Loma said, I'll take whatever you give me, whatever you want to give me, Cambosos, double rematch clause, whatever, Australia, size of the ring, gloves, you pick everything you want. I'll beat the crap out of you. Then Haney looked bad and he said, well, I'll take the same deal. Devin Haney better send a postcard every year to Vladimir Putin and Zelensky and thank them that they got into this little brouhaha and that they gave him the opportunity to go to Australia and get those belts. Better get on his knees and do some really disgusting stuff. That's what he should be doing. That's the onus is on him to do that.
If it weren't for that clash of countries, Loma would have gotten that deal, and we're under the impression, based on what we know of Loma and what we saw of Kambosos against Haney, because it wasn't really like an attempt to keep his title that night, that Loma would have done very similar, if not more. Basically, anyone that wanted to go in to win that night into Australia was going to come out to victory because Kambosos didn't put an effort in. So, again, Haney better be glad that conflict happened, because otherwise he'd be trying to negotiate with Loma right now.
That's right. And notice how with Haney, there's always some drama. With the WBC, these guys don't want to fight me. He goes back and forth with Ryan Garcia, like a bunch of schoolgirls on Twitter. Nothing ever happens. He went back and forth with Kambosos for 6 months. Meanwhile, Lomachenko, no Twitter drama, just boom, behind the scenes, accepts a deal against Kambosos, and he makes Devin Haney look bad. Because Devin Haney, he's all talk, instead of just making the right moves and fighting. And that's what he's doing right now, him and his father, crying about, why are we in a pound-for-pound list? It's a pound-for-pound list. It's subjective. And listen, let's get down to it, man. Let's get down to it, because I've been meaning to get to this. I got to present a little bit of photographs here so that people understand what it is that we're talking about. So Haney was taken out of the let's just say he didn't make the Ring's top 10 pound-for-pound list, which is subjective at the end of the day. It's just all pound-for-pound lists are subjective, but some people have better criteria for explaining their picks, because there's a lot of people out there, and we've had them call in, and we've had them on the open panel here, where they go, well, I don't rate people. My ratings are based off the eye test. So that's just an excuse to take prospects that they like and put them in the pound-for-pound list. Just look at the Champ Sites list. Is that the guy's name? Champ Site, I think? The black guy who makes everything about well, I mean, no surprise there.
I don't know. I don't follow those.
But he's one of those guys that he only has one non-black person in his pound-for-pound list. And there's borderline prospects in his list. So that's their criteria is, well, it's the eye test. Well, that's a bad criteria, number one. The Ring Magazine, ESPN, at least, even though I don't always agree with their list, at least they can back it up with a certain argument behind it. So this is what happened. Doug Fisher, the editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine, has been going back and forth on Twitter with Devin Haney. I think Bucho touched on this a little bit in the last episode. So Devin Haney then came out. He said, to be clear, I am not obligated to wear the Ring Magazine belt. If I earned it, then I earned it. I rather wear it than or not. So to ask for it back just shows that y'all never wanted me to have it in the first place. Because Doug Fisher said, look, if you really have a problem with our ratings, just send us back our belt. Because I think Haney threatened not to want to wear it, something like that. Now Haney's crying victim because they call his bluff. He goes, oh, so now you want to take it away from me. It means you never wanted me to have it in the first place. Again, crying victim. And if you push him, he's probably going to tell you that it's racially motivated. Now, he himself hasn't said it, but I was going to see some of his fanatics pull the race card. So Doug Fisher replied, if you have a problem with the Ring rankings that you want to take out on our championship titles, why would you want to hold on to it? Even if it's just kept in your home. You tweeted, the Ring could keep their belt, so let us keep it. Send it to me. I'll pay for shipping. So that's part of the drama right there. That's... I mean, Chief, you got to admit, before I continue on with the photographs, as a guy who's been watching boxing longer than some of the people in the chat have been alive, you got to admit, this is a little ridiculous, this new internet beef, right?
Yes. I mean, first of all, you're getting involved with a magazine entity that's actually owned by a former fighter. So, I mean, there's already stuff that goes along with that, the Ring belt doesn't mean as much as it used to once Oscar bought it. No discredit for Oscar and how he's running it, but there's been people that thought that maybe some of the things started to be more slanted towards anything Golden Boy related after he did that. Now, I'm not taking a side on that or not, but that's what some people have told me. So you're taking a belt that's not sanctioned, that you don't have to pay for. It's a free belt. It's recognized by mainstream boxing fans and champions, but it's one that's done by a ranking system that's still somewhat opinionated. The Ring's top 10 is the Ring's opinion of who the top fighters are. When the number 1 and number 2 contender fight, or if there is an undisputed champion, they usually get the belt. Okay, well, you got it. Congratulations. You don't have to wear it. You're not obligated to. You're absolutely right. Why take this drama out there for the world to see? You either want to wear it or you don't. If you don't want it, yes, send it back, because there's no use in taking credit for a belt that you're not going to represent. You're still representing the Ring Championship by being the Ring Champion. So you either represent the belt or you don't. If you don't want it, give it back. No one cares, because at the end of the day, it's still not a sanctioning body. There's no one sits there and counts the number of Ring Magazine defense belts anyone's ever made, period, in the history of boxing ever.
Exactly.
So it's just a prestige part that you are recognized as the main champion, or it's not. You don't want it, you don't have to acknowledge it. It's no skin off of anyone's nose, but don't make a big deal about it. If it doesn't matter, then don't make a big deal about it.
Exactly. But you know what it is? It's he wants to have his cake and eat it too. And I hate to say it, but that's the way it is with a lot of these new American fighters. They're very spoiled. They get a lot of things handed to them, whether it's a WBC email belt or certain opportunities or certain coddling in the media. That's just the way it is. And so as soon as something doesn't go their way, like you said, a symbolic act, like a pound-for-pound list, whoopsie daisy, it's time to cry. And it's time. Not only is it time to cry, it's time to cry victimhood and say that they never liked you in the first place. I mean, ridiculous.
When you know that they did.
Exactly.
But, all right. On the flip side, for small defense of Devin Haney, let me bring this up. And I know that either you or Butcher read a criteria the other day of what ring has to go by. But fan-wise and for a grand understanding, so many more people still do it more off of accomplishments. And the ring's victim of this too, because when they do their justification, you end up reading into, okay, this is all they accomplished. Okay, but when it comes to accomplishments, if we went by career-wide accomplishments, then the ones that would be in the top 5 would be Triple G, Loma, Nonito Donaire, and a handful of other guys, Chocolito. Even though they may not be the best right now, you can't compete with their resumes. Canelo would obviously still be in there too. But when it comes time to Devin Haney or Shakur Stevens, they wouldn't even be thought of because you've got to have a time frame of what you're looking at. That none of them have 20 title defenses yet, like Triple G, who's once again a unified world traveling champion. Okay, that kind of a resume it's not easy to come by. It comes over time. So there needs to be a more current, what have you done for me lately and what have you done recently, and enforced rating system like that, because otherwise there's going to be strong arguments for Lomachenko and Triple G and, well, Donaire if he wins a title again, even though he's past his prime, to be in there, because their body of work over time it's unbeatable at this stage of their careers. Stevenson and Haney currently can't compete with that. So this accomplishments idea has merit, but it needs to be more like recent accomplishments, not career-wise, because what Triple G did 4 or 5 years ago when he had those 20 title defenses, that was almost half a decade ago. Mm-hmm. So now we need to rank off of something else. I love Triple G. He's definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. He doesn't belong on a pound for pound list right now. Donaire's obviously lost recently to Hanoi, but if he wouldn't have, where would he be? Based off of accomplishments, he should be number 1, because nobody's won as many titles in many weight classes with as many world champions as he's fought. But again, how long ago was that?
All right. Well, now see, you make an excellent point. I mean, you got to, but that's also the other flip side of that coin is you stack recent accomplishments with with past accomplishments, even if there's a loss sandwich in between. I got to give a shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution with the super chat. He says he fought no one. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. That's my uncle used to say that you don't put the work in, you're gonna get trouble in return. All right. Shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to Rafael Garza for his contribution as well. He says Haney will vacate 135 at the Kambosos fight and avoid Lomachenko by dropping the belts, even though he made weight at 134.8 for the first Kambosos fight. Hashtag Spence Bud is a pipe dream. Doo-doo ducked Janibek. Oh, see, that's how you do it. If you're gonna donate with the super chat, you pack in a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, man, that's what some people are saying. Haney, after he beats Kambosos the second time, which he should, he's probably gonna move up to 140 because he's gonna all of a sudden he's gonna have trouble of making weight. And Spence Bud is a pipe dream. They're saying, listen, we're close to September. If they're going to announce a fight before the end of the year, it's got to be now. And time's running out. So shout out to Rafael Garza. Oh, yeah, and Dudu did duck Janibek, that's for sure. Even the people that were defending him before don't have much more to say about that. J. Nels in the chat says, as soon as the first bell rings, I already know it's going 12 rounds with a clinch and jabs and a decision win. That's not what a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter is. Absolutely, Janelles, that's not pound for pound. Now, when you got guys like Inoue, Beterbiev, that go in there, Lomachenko, that go in there and put a hurting on their opponents, but they do it with skill too. And dare I say, hey, another guy that got left out that you could have squeezed in another era if it would have been a little thinner. Bam Rodriguez, another guy that combines real skills, the sweet science, by stopping people and not jabbing and clinching. Now, let me get back to this here. some of the tweets on that we've been reading here about defending Devin Haney. I think this one's defending Devin Haney. Hold on a second. Where is it? Oh yeah, okay, there it is. All right. It's a guy on Twitter says he definitely doesn't need to beat him to get credit, talking about Haney beating Lomachenko. Haney doesn't need to beat Lomachenko to get credit, he says. Theo beat Loma and still doesn't get the credit. Well, now, in regards to that tweet, seeing as how we're considered Lomachenko fanboys here, when Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez, we were right in the front lines of all of that. And guess what? Even when it came out that Loma had an injured shoulder, people still said, give Teo his credit. And I even gave him his credit. I said, hey, he went in there, he made things happen, he showed up, he trained. That's not luck. He fought and he won. You know, the other, Lomachenko went in there with an injured shoulder or a semi-injured shoulder, which then became injured, whatever. He stepped in there, he took a chance, he lost. Let's make the rematch. Never happened. Hey, that's how things turned out. But Teofimo Lopez definitely got his credit. There was only a minority of people that were saying, okay, he's get some credit, but how much? That's what we were asking. How much credit? Let's make the rematch happen. So yeah, that the absolutely Teofimo Lopez got his credit. Again, we're not dealing with facts here with this statement here that this guy's throwing out. Teo beat Loma and still doesn't get credit. That's not factual. And no, is that an excuse for why Haney shouldn't fight Lomachenko? It's like I don't understand that statement. It's just masturbation to feel good for themselves.
One doesn't really have anything to do with the other. The fact that Teo won that fight has nothing to do with whether Haney should fight Loma. Loma has earned his shot back at a contendership status. And down. And and there's other, like Shakur's not fighting it that way yet, so he hasn't deserved anything. And a lot of people of these different camps that are fans, now I won't say fanboys, but definitely fans of some of these other fighters that they want to see get a shot. Well, one, like let's go ahead and put one out there. Tank has not shown any interest to really want to fight anyone except for Ryan Garcia, but there's a reason why. Ryan Garcia is mandatory. He has to entertain this because if he doesn't entertain it at all or they don't spin it the right way, he gets stripped of his belt. And Ryan will fight the number 2 guy in order to get that belt. Teo did not seem to want to do much outside of make one mandatory defense. And apparently the IBF was the one that was in the lead of who had to be defended first. And then he was going to go to 140. He lost. It took a year to make that fight for all sorts of reasons that we're not going to go into. But that did happen. And he moved up. I think what took away was not the fact he didn't get credit. It's the fact that all the steam that was lost by the postponement of the overbidding and the overpricing of the fight with Kambosos that didn't materialize until almost a year later. And that took a lot of steam out of that win. I think had he fought sooner, then this person's tweet would have lost a little bit of momentum. It only seems that way because it took a year to make it took a whole year to make a mandatory defense with nothing in between. Very little talk and communication from his camp too. There was COVID. You didn't hear much from him. Then it was this and this and this and this and this. And where's the fight going to be? You know, that came into play, and all these factors came into play to where it made it kind of difficult to keep riding off that same success off of one very close win. And it was a close win. It wasn't a dominant win. It was a close win.
That's right. That's the thing that people seem to forget too. By the way, shout out to, who is this here? Amok. Shout out to Amok PvP for his contribution with the super chat. He says Haney's fight is $80 and NyQuil. No, what? Haney's fight is $80 and NyQuil is $10. Do the math. Okay. yeah. Haney fighting, you got to pay $80 over there in Australia, I think, because it's pay-per-view. While over, NyQuil, a bottle of NyQuil, $10. Yeah, I'd rather take the NyQuil. I mean, I'll wake up the next day nice and refreshed, and I look at the results for his fight, and I go, 12-round decision, jabbing clinch. Okay, didn't miss much there. The phone lines are open. I see people there in the phone lines. Stay there, fellas. I'm going to get to you. Let me just, because I had a lot of tweets here that I want to go through. So let me just put one more, and then I'll get to the phone lines here. This is a guy named Dream Chaser there on Twitter. He goes, people are still demanding an answer on why Lomachenko is a fighter with 18 fights, 2 losses, and 0 belts, and fighting a 3rd straight tuna fight, is ranked above the undefeated, undisputed champion in his division. This is beyond ridiculous at this point. And then this guy named Mr. I Know Boxing says privilege. So he's talking about the white privilege for Lomachenko. Well, first of all, let me go back to this tweet here. He says people are still demanding why Lomachenko is ranked above the undefeated champion in his division. Well, first of all, he's not fighting a tune-up. He hasn't fought 3 straight tune-ups. I would hardly call Nakatani and Richard Comey tune-ups. But again, you can just write whatever you want and not mention who those guys were, and it straightens your already weak argument. Now, how can he be ranked above the undisputed champion in his division? We're going to get to that too, because Haney fans, which are usually Lomachenko haters, for years were saying that Linares win by Lomachenko wasn't significant because Linares had been stopped way before. Now, when they want to talk about his accomplishment, they bring up Linares. So which one is it? Which one is it? There's another tweet here. This guy, who I can barely see, by the way, he says, honestly, dog, there's no logic to your rankings. Lomo is on it. Inoue is number 2. Come on. That's what he's saying. He's saying, Inoue number 2? Come on. Knock him out already. What the fuck?
Was he saying that Inoue shouldn't be on there at all, or I think
that's what it sounds like to me. So again, it just goes to show you, these are people that don't watch boxing. They're people that so real quick, I brought this up to Thunderdome yesterday, and he goes, well, it's mostly people, what they usually do is they're NBA fans, they're MLB fans, whatever other sport, and they scroll through their Twitter every once in a while. Oh, Devin Haney won? Oh, they check the highlights? Okay, and then they drop it and they start doing something else. And then 2 weeks later, they check Twitter again, they check the highlights of the guy they follow. Oh, he won, let me check the highlights, boom. That's what they do. They don't understand they don't even know who Inoue is. They can't even name you. Top 3 Inoue wins, or top 5. That's the people we're dealing with here. The people that ruin boxing, the people that tell you, why don't the big fights happen? Why the best always avoiding the best? It's because of you. A loss is the end of the world. A loss means this guy's trash. So it's
well, and then you're supporting a person that's not fighting the best. It goes back to when Mayweather and Pacquiao were avoiding each other. I'll put it that way for now, even though I don't fully believe that's the story. The fans weren't like, we're not going to buy either one of y'all's fights till you fight each other. And that was part of the problem. And now that map of fighters saying when they want to fight, well, Bud and Spence, for instance, they've been avoiding each other since 2017. We're almost to 2023. The fans constantly keep supporting this by buying into Spence's fights, although it looks by the pay-per-view numbers that they're getting tired of it, but by still continuing to at least follow it and support a side of it instead of not supporting any of it, like what Steve Kim talks about. And I was part of. We did a Roycott back in the 90s. We didn't buy his pay-per-views. If they were against anyone other than Darius Michalczewski, which never happened, we didn't buy him because they were terrible. They weren't good opponents. And by the time he started, fighting Tarver made a little bit of a name for himself. But those were the best pay-per-views he did outside of John Ruiz. Every other pay-per-view he did since the James Toney fight were about like Bud Crawford's numbers because we boycotted him. He could only fight on HBO. We weren't going to back that because we wanted him to fight someone. Nobody's doing that these days.
Now they should.
They're all behind their guy, ride or die.
That's right. Yeah, ride or die. Like a bunch of, like they're a couple or something, like man and woman. All right, let's go to a couple of phone calls here because we've got people holding on for a couple of minutes here. So let's go to that and then we'll get back to the tweets because I haven't even scratched the surface, guys. I really want to get to this, all right? So you got to give me a chance to do this as well. Real quick, hold on a second. Let me make sure everything's up here. All right, let's go to 650. 650, you're on the air. 650, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? I was just saying, even though they're owned by Golden Boy, the Ring magazine, they didn't just throw this together, this ring piece. I would understand if they didn't explain it, but I like how they came out and explained their criteria, and I like them responding to Devin. It's obviously whoever wrote that piece took it seriously. And I like that. And Bill Haney, man, he's realizing his son can't sell, and he's turning to the LDBC, and he's blaming race for not selling, pretty much. And it's ridiculous. And now he's saying it's because Bob favors white Jesus. It's fucking disgusting. And Bill Haney, I'm pretty sure Bill Haney is Nation of Islam. He's not an average Muslim. If you look at what the Nation of Islam stand for, it's the same nation that killed Malcolm X because Malcolm X tried to expose that their leader was doing adultery and pedophilia, so they killed him. Like, that's who Bill Haney decided to join. So think about that. And Devin Haney probably has an identity crisis. Probably realizes his dad's a piece of shit. And but he wants the support. He wants that LDBC support, and it's fucking disgusting.
Caller, you brought us some excellent points. Who are you again? Because sometimes I get the voice confused.
I am your leader.
I am your leader. Okay, I knew you sound familiar. I'm your leader. Excellent points, man. We got to move on because we got our phone calls. But man, anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's it. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you, man. Same to you, man. Take it easy, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bill Haney, Nation of Islam, probably. And, he was the one talking about how Vasil Lomachenko didn't go to war. And look, I don't think they ever said he went to actual war. I think they said they're not going to put a star athlete in the front lines. They probably had him patrolling. That's a hell of a lot more than Bill Haney has done for his country. I mean, didn't Bill Haney get arrested?
He hadn't done much except for try to insult another country. They wouldn't let him in due to his past behavior.
No, but Chief. I mean, what's better? Enlisting in military service or selling drugs that are going to go to inner city and urban America and probably to kids? Which one's worse?
Seeing what I did for a living, I think you already know my answer to that.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, I think Bill Haney's she should reserve judgment. That's all I'm saying. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 214. 214, you're on the air. 214, what's on your mind?
Hello. Yeah, I heard about this thing, about the Ring magazine. I don't think it's right. I don't think Vasily Lomachenko should be on there, but I don't think Devin should be on there either. I don't think he needs more to establish himself, in my opinion. Just going from, what was he, fighting Jojo Diaz to fighting George Kambosos. I don't think George was on there, so I don't think Devin should be on there. I think he should do a little bit more, get at least two more title defenses, in my opinion. I don't even have Bam on there. I don't have Bam Rodriguez on there.
There you
go. And as for, I also want to speak about Hrgovic. I think that he's overrated, and that people, I don't know why people won't just accept that he's not that good. I was listening to a guy who I trust, and he said that Hrgovic could be Anthony Joshua. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Well, that's what we're going to uncover here today. We're talking about how people nowadays with social media, they can just say whatever they want, but they don't back it up. And then narratives start being formed out of that trash heap that we call Twitter. It really is a disgusting place. But caller, we got to move on. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy. Enjoy your Sunday.
All right.
All right. Shout out to Thunderdome, by the way. The aforementioned Thunderdome. I was just talking about him, about the question I posed to him yesterday. Shout out to Thunderdome. Go check out his channel. Subscribe to his Odyssey channel as well. If you enjoy film analysis, anybody can jump on the film analysis. I mean, as long as they're not an asshole. And you can contribute to watching rescoring fights, punch counts, and all of that. Thunderdome Boxing, one of the best channels out there when it comes to boxing. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to 619. 619, you're on the air. 619, what's on your mind?
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. What's up?
Cool, man. Yeah, I just had a couple quick points. Man, Devin not being on the ring pound for pound, the reason he's not on there is the same reason George Kambosos is on. Because fucking, dude, like, he didn't do anything. And it's not George's fault that T.O. had a bad night or however the fuck you want to say it. But, like, he got a win over T.O. That's the only win he has. To be pound for pound, it's a number of things, like you said. It's not just the resume, it's the manner in which you win. It's like all this other shit. And Devin, all he did was beat Kambosos.
That's right. And listen, his fans, we had an open lines panel on the day before the fight. Before the Haney-Kambosos fight, we had an open panel. And I picked Haney. Most of us picked Haney to beat him. But there was these new guys that we'd never heard of before. There were these new guys that came on. They were like, Haney's going to win. And I asked them, how's he going to win? They didn't even know how. They couldn't break it down. All they could say was he more faster, he more athletic. And then they said that Kambosos was going to lose because he was a one-hit wonder. So they're telling you he's overrated. And now all of a sudden Haney's supposed to be top 10 because he beat an overrated guy? Caller, what's your take on that?
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, if you see me on Twitter, everyone knows I'm the number one Teofimo fan. But, like, George Kambosos.
What's the matter with you?
That's not Devin's fault. And it's not George's fault either. Like, you can't call him a bum. Oh, a bum beat Teofimo. Which is true, actually. That's actually the fact. Teo lost to a bum. But then this bum now makes Devin Haney pound for pound. You gotta
exactly. Yeah, that makes no sense, man. Well, caller, you're sounding a little muffled, man. You're sounding a little muffled. Do me a favor. Hang up, call back, and I'll get to other phone calls, okay? Because you're sounding muffled. Maybe get closer to your receiver.
Okay, I'll call back. All
right. Take it easy, man. Yeah, he started to break up too on top of that. But he made a good point, though. When he said he was a Teofimo fan, though, that's when I said, you know what? Get close to your phone there, fella. 520. I'm kidding. 520. You're on the air. 520. What's on your mind?
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Everybody good right now?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well on this Sunday, man. What's up?
I'm good. First of all, I mean, like I've been saying this for forever. Teal's win over Loma is a fluke. Kambosos win over Teal was a fluke. Believe it or not, whether he was sick or not, I don't know, but I do honestly believe 100% if each of them were to fight each other again, Loma would beat Teal and Teal would beat Kambosos. I told everybody that Haney was going to win and he was going to win easy. I'm a Haney fan, but I'm not delusional. You know, I know where the belts came from. He didn't really beat anybody for it. Loma did all the work. And that's why I feel he's not in the top 10. He could be a top 10, but he has to clean out the division. He has to face the person that got all the belts, which was Loma to begin with. And I think if he beats Loma, he would get the credit that people want him to have. But as of right now, I mean, he had a vacated WBC that he was handed to. He beat George Kambosos, which, you know, to me, you know, he was a fluke. You know, he wasn't a real champion, you know. So it's kind of weak route that he took. Obviously, you cannot blame Haney because he wanted to smoke with Teo. He wanted to smoke with Loma, supposedly. So you can't blame him the route that was given to him. He just took it. But at the same time, it wasn't the hardest route for Undisputed to begin with. Mm-hmm. So to me, you know, who are you going to put Haney over? I got Usyk, Inoue, Canelo, Spence, Maul, Bud Crawford, Bivol, Better Biev, and then Bivol, Shakur Stevenson, and Fulton. Who are you going to take out for Haney? I think Fulton's dominant win over Roman, you know, put him into my top 10, you know. I think he could easily be the next Undisputed at 122. But just the last two things I wanted to say is that, you know, I'm not a fan of, you know, big racists and stuff like that. And for some reason, it's usually black people. They're saying, why is Inoue number 2? Like, he deserves to be number 2. He was number 3 before Canelo lost.
They want to take out the Asian. Haney's fans want them to take out the Asian. This ain't Harvard. This ain't affirmative action. You get there on merit. And these people, they want to take him out just because they like him. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and Inoue's been doing incredible, and he just sealed the fight versus Butler for Undisputed, you know? So he's going to be one of our next Undisputed champions. That, and there was another comment earlier. I'm trying to remember what the individual said, because it was about the Inoue, and then it was I think Lomachenko. I don't have Lomachenko in my top 10. I just gave you guys my pound for pound list. He's a great fighter. He did so much in amateurs. I think he overdid his amateur career by a few years. You know, so to me, it is hard to put him in the top 10 after I recognize everybody I just said. But you know, there's no room for, you know, racism in the sport. You know, there's already a lot in the world. Just do the eye test, you know, go by curriculum, go by achievement. And you could see Inoue is a top, you know, he's a top fighter, you know, and it's ridiculous because I had somebody in a different channel telling me like, oh, Inoue will never go up to 122. He'll never fight an undefeated black fighter. And I'm just like, I just heard the rumors that he might do that next. You know, it's like, why are you hating on him? Oh, because Inoue, if he was 130, 140, 150, he wouldn't be beating the same people. I'm saying he's a small guy. You know, even putting up those extra 4 pounds to get to 122 is going to be a lot for the small guy. So why are you trying to say, like, oh, I want to see him at 130 to see if he's still a great? Like, you know, he's just so small of a frame guy. But, that's all I really wanted to say. Shout out to everybody, including Haney. But he does have to do a lot to, in my eyes, to be considered into the pound for pound. But, you know, it's not something that's impossible for him. He just, you know, needs to take out Loma, maybe take another title defense, and, you know, he might be up there depending on the other fighters. But shout out to the panel. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
All right, man.
Oh, go
well
ahead.
said. No, I said well said, caller. We'll catch you in the next one. All right, man. Take it easy. Yeah, listen, I don't understand what it is. They're always going after the Asians now. It's bizarre. They're going after Inoue because he's number 2. He deservedly number 2. And now the Haney's fans are complaining, oh, get him out of there. We want Haney in there. Hey, look, Inoue's earned it. He's been fighting nonstop top opposition for the past 5 years, maybe more. Hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to another phone call here. They're starting to pile up. I didn't expect this. 562, you're on the air. 562, what's on your mind?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed, sir. What's on your mind?
So I didn't join the last panel you guys had talking about Haney and all them before, but I'm curious. When Haney goes to Australia in October, defends against Kambosos for a second time, let's say he completely wipes him out, outboxes him, maybe even knocks him out this time, and defends the belt in someone else's backyard, does that put him up in a better ranking, or is he still in the same spot for you guys and needs to fight someone better?
It would depend on what happens with other pound-for-pound fellas. Because that's what it's also dependent upon. It's what happens with the other top 10 guys. Does one of them get kicked off? Let's say Crawford fights Spence or something. Not Crawford, because I don't think he would drop so much. But actually, let's say Crawford retires or one guy retires. That takes them, one of the top 10 guys, that takes them away from the top 10 list. That would open up a spot for the next best guy. And it would depend on who puts forth a better effort. But this whole thing about Haney putting on a better fight, it's a big if. Because we've already seen him being unable to stop 2 guys that have been consistently stopped in Gamboa and Linares, and he couldn't do it. He's not that type of guy. And I don't blame him, because if he's got a bad chin or whatever, or if he doesn't have the wherewithal or the infrastructure to go after people in the ring, then he shouldn't fight that way. But guess what then? That's on him. He shouldn't be pound for pound top 10 then.
I think if he beats Kambosos, Loma's next for him.
Absolutely. Well, that's what they say now. But
and that Loma's going to piece him apart in the later rounds, no matter where that tells. I think, you know, he's at it like Kambosos. He's got to this far, and then he's going to meet Loma, who's just on another level. Doesn't care where it is. After his loss to Tio, I think he just realizes how he's going to fight these guys, and he'll be undisputed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully they get all that sorted out by 2023. Caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No. Thanks for taking my call, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Sunday.
You too, man. Take it easy. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 956. 956, you're on the air. 956, what's on your mind?
Hey, Doug Fisher is a racist piece of shit. Yeah, motherfucker, man. He's not good for the sport. I'm just fucking with y'all. Hey, I love Doug Fisher, man. You know what? Hey, he should have put Chocolate Tito on the list too, because Loma and Choc, they both get these racist bloods boiling. You know what I'm saying? So he should have Choc too. But look, all these fucking nerds, these paper nerds, they make their list off of like resumes and stuff like that. Man, no, it's off skill. That's what you do it off skill. That's the most important thing. My top 3, Loma, Usyk, Bivol. In my opinion, those 3 are the most skilled. Devin Haney ain't even top 20. The fuck you do besides jab and hug? You know, like there's like a video out in his 3rd fight. He was fighting some short ass Guatemalan in Tijuana. Motherfucker was like 5'2", and guess what Haney did? He fucking ran and jabbed a fucking 5'2" corn picker. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never gonna be on my motherfucking list of top 10. You know, and people talking about he's gonna improve, he's gonna he ain't gonna do shit, bro. Because at 140, he's fresh meat. He ain't got the power to beat anybody at 140. And at 135, he's in Duck Loma. I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do, but it's either he's gonna be protected like Tank and fight nothing but bums, or he's gonna get his ass knocked out. You know, so as far as Haney goes, his career is basically over. He's gonna be a flash in the pan, just like Kambosos was. The whole 135 is nothing but a big fuck fest. Because I agree with the guys who called us before. Tio was overrated. Kambosos a fucking bum. It was, and it was Loma's fault. Loma should have never fucking fought Tio with that broken shoulder. Because him losing the fight, look what happened. You had all these fucking immature bums get fucking titles. And now look at it. This shit's fucking whack, bro. So that's all I got to say. Fuck all everybody.
Right. Hey, listen, love the passion, man. Keep it up, man. Call back next time. All right. He hung up. All right, shout out to him. Let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Okay, let's go back to 570. 570, you still there?
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic, man.
All right. So last time I called in was prior to the Joshua Usyk fight, and first of all, I want to apologize. I was kind of spazzing out a little bit during that call, but listen, if we're going to really distill down what the issue at hand here is with these people that want to invoke race about absolutely everything, we are in a class war, not a race war. These people, all they do is fall back on racism, when they have nothing else. They can't point out any factual statements. It's just always revert back to racism. The reason that I will never pay for a Devin Haney fight, I will never support anybody that jabs and clinches the whole fight. It is boring. I don't give a fuck if you're white, you're black. I don't care. It is fucking boring. In my opinion, that is not boxing. There's a difference between being defensively sound, having sweet footwork, the whole nine, but you still have to engage. He does not do that. Why would anybody support that? And all these people do is fall back on racism. So until we change our mindsets as a whole in this country, the whole world, we will get absolutely fucking nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
Absolutely. Hey, listen. First of all, you got to call into the second renaissance, because we were getting into that the other day. So
I was about to ask. Yeah, when are you guys doing another second renaissance show?
The best way to find that out is subscribe. That way, when we do create an event, you'll get notified on it. But because right now, I'm not sure when I'm doing the next one. But listen, everything you said about that's absolutely correct. They've got people. Some caller already said it before. Malcolm X, he was okay. The FBI left him alone when he was talking black versus white. As soon as it becomes, wait a minute, maybe we're being manipulated into thinking we're enemies. Whoops! All of a sudden, they shoot him in the testicles, the chest, all over the place, and that's all she wrote. So maybe we should.
What this boils down to is Jesuit. This is all Jesuit, the Holy Roman Empire.
All right.
This is what. Hey, you can laugh. Hey, go read the Talmud. Go look at the Jesuits. Until people wake the fuck up, we will be in the same fucking perpetual state of slavery. White, black, doesn't matter. I can as easily say my family's Sicilian. The Moors raped and pillaged the Sicilians. That's why you see a lot of the Sicilians with black features. We could do this fucking game all day long, people. But until you wake up and want to better yourself and take accountability, we're fucked. We are fucked.
Hey, caller, I just want to say I wasn't laughing at your state. I was laughing at the fact that I was laughing at the fact that maybe we shouldn't be talking about this right now. You know what I mean? But listen, you got to call into second round.
Is that going to get you flagged? Will that?
No. It's just listen. I'm a paranoid motherfucker. That's it. It's not on you. But listen, we got to move on to
brother. Listen, I'm right there with you.
Absolutely. So listen, great call. Call back next time, all right, man? Stay tuned for the second renaissance.
I appreciate it, brother. You guys take care.
All right, take it easy, man. I was going to say, join the Discord. That's the best way to get be up to date about what's going on, when we're going on the air and all that. Check out the Discord. I think the link is updated, so you should be able to check it out. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to put the link in the description. I mean, in the chat. That's what I'm going to do. Wouldn't that be something if I did that? I'm actually going to do it right now. you guys are thinking he's not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Look at this. There you go. I put it there. All right, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 619. 619, you're on the air. What's on your mind? 619, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, sir. What's on your mind? 619, you're on the air. I heard
Sorry
you.
about that.
Yeah.
Am I coming through?
Nah, man, you're sounding muffled.
Really quick, the last. Damn it! Can you hear me?
Speak your piece, and I'll translate for people. I mean, I'll tell people what it was. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say the last thing is I don't know if people know this, but Devin, the only time he started with that Muslim shit is because he went on Aki TV. He was never Muslim until Aki started saying fucking Alhamdulillah, and he started saying it back, and then the ratings went up, and then he started saying that shit in real life. That's it.
All right, thank you for your call, man. I'll tell people who didn't hear that what you said. All right, thank you very much, man. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Right. Yeah, the caller said that Haney wasn't into the whole Muslim shit until he went on Aki TV and they got him saying Alhamdulillah, whatever that was. So that's how it started. It was all on Aki TV. Let's go to the wild card line. We got 111 here. 111, you're on the air. 111, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up? Anti-black boxing channel going on in the line chat. But listen, I would like to say, have we not progressed in this world? That racism is still going on, right? You know, especially with Mr. BDA himself, right? I mean, like, come on, bro. But anyway, you know, we both were fresh off the boat, BA, so I thought you would understand this. You know, seems like, you know. But listen, I think they have guys like Taylor and Lomachenko on the pound list who shouldn't be on pound list, right? Taylor, he just lost, and these guys are not active, right? Lomachenko, right? He's fighting a tune-up. Are you serious? Right? He's fighting some idiot, you know, Luis Ortiz, brother, whatever his name is. I don't know, Victor Ortiz, whatever. But listen, right? He's fighting this guy, and everybody's saying, "Oh, he's come from the war." First of all he was eating some Ukrainian snacks and watching television. That's all he was watching. He was watching. He was not on the front lines. Okay, that's like they would not put a midget on the front line. And look at this. Usyk, he came back from Ukraine and fought AJ. So don't give me no excuses, bro. Right? But anyway, listen. Devin Haney, right? Think about this. He worked your whole life to get these belts. He dropped out of school. He said, you know, train the gym just to not become on the pound list. And first of all, their pound list, I don't even I discard it because everybody knows MMA champs pound is the best. I'll state it later. But listen, it's just ridiculous. And I want to say this. This is becoming a Lomachenko fanboy network, right? BDA. Okay. Absolutely, yeah. And also with Boxing Chief and all the people like Jimmy, you know, Loma's number one fanboy, prostitute, whatever you want to call it. Like, come on, bro. At the end of the day,
Loma. Hey, MMA, why don't you go take a fucking IQ test?
And then fail it.
So we can all get a
hold on.
Seriously. Come on here, disrespecting you clown.
MMA champ, you started off well, but then you sort of lost traction and you had to amp it up a little bit, but it didn't really work out. Though, right? And but hold on, we're losing viewers. We're losing viewers with you here because you're very monotone. So we're going to have to move on. But last statement, and then we got to move on, all right, man?
All right, listen, let me say this. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Shout out to everybody in LDBC. Alhamdulillah.
See, look, guys, he's fucking trolling, man. Come on. You guys, don't take it too seriously what he says, man. But yeah, we had to move on, man, because Bucho told me, man, we're losing fucking viewers with MMA Champ. MMA Champ, I like your calls, but you got to shorten them up, man, because you tend to ramble a little bit. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 346. 346, you're on the air. 346, what's on your mind?
And what's up, Logical Man, y'all? What up with y'all, man?
Oh, what's up, man?
That Syndrome baby MMA is a freaking moron. But that's what I want to say, man. Haney is boring as hell. I want to give all the guys that have hate in your heart for black folks, just know all that hate. Let the hate out online, man. I know you got problems. You need to let the hate out. But listen here, man. I would never pay to see Haney ever do boring as shit. Yes, he does jab and clinch. I don't understand how LWC can defend this, even though I know that his dad is kissing their ass. But the dude, I got to give him a top 10 spot in pound for pound because he is undisputed, number 10. But I see Bam Bam Rodriguez easily, taking this dude's shine because he's so boring. People are going to not support that. People don't want to fall asleep. People are tired of the Mayweather bullshit. We in the Canelo era. It's time for greatness. It's time for belts. So that's what I'm liking so far.
It's time for risks. Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, we're the consumers. We want to see people take risks. Outside the ring, when negotiations, fuck the negotiations, just take the terms and fight. Inside the ring, fight the best. And if you can't do it in an entertaining fashion, at least throw more than one shot. Not just jab, clinch, jab, clinch, jab, clinch. We're the consumers. Boxing is at its best when it's at its most dangerous. I've said it before, I'll say it again. But Logical Man, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, but I can't say, man, hopefully he fights Loma and he gets exposed because that little takedown UFC gay shit is not going to work on Loma. Loma's going to turn on him and uppercut the shit out of him. This Kambosos fight is a joke. I'm not watching this shit. I can't believe people choose that fight over Wilder versus Hellenius. You guys are morons. Just Haney is just going to be overshadowed by everybody. Right now, all the prospects coming up are way more exciting. They're way more interesting, and they're not complaining about dumb shit. They're just getting things done. But it's what I man. I'm out, man. I have to go.
You too, man. Logical Man. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right. Well, listen. Don't forget to hit the like and shout out to Lil King in the chat for his contribution to the super. He says, "How do I call in from abroad? The link has expired." Oh, abroad. Fuck. Okay, so if you're outside of North America and you can't call in, I got you covered. I've got a StreamYard link here. So outside of North America, please. If you're outside of North America, use StreamYard. If you're within North America, please use the phone number that's in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. All right. Now, let me continue on real quick because I wanted to get through with this, and all of a sudden we got harangued by phone calls. I did not expect that many phone calls, but we always appreciate our callers, so we had to get to them. All right, so I got to that dude that was saying that Inoue wasn't pound for pound. Okay, then this guy goes, he earned it fair and square, talking about Devin Haney and the ring belt. Devin should be in the top 10 rankings. Facts. Okay, first of all, just because you say facts after something doesn't make it a fact. How can Vasily Lomachenko be in there, but the current undisputed champion in the same weight class not be in the top 10? LOL. Soon, all those belts are going to be valued to nothing. Well, first of all, that's the only thing I agree with him, that the belts shouldn't matter. Now, all these alphabet organizations, they should all jump in the lake, as my grandfather used to say. But with the other thing about how can Lomachenko be under Haney in the lightweight rankings, but above him pound for pound, well, put it to you this way. If Terence Crawford were to move up to 154, and let's say he beats Castaño or Madrimov or somebody, right? So it does enough to be in the top 10 Ring Magazine 154-pound rankings. He's still behind Jermell Charlo in the junior middleweight rankings, but he would be above him still pound for pound. Just because he moves up one division, it's not going to lower him in the pound for pound rankings, right? So that's the same thing with Lomachenko. That's why I'm telling you guys, it seems to me like these people just started watching boxing a couple of weeks ago.
They don't have a full concept grasp of the whole thing. And his last part to his points, if all these belts are going to be meaningless soon, then how is Devin Haney undisputed champion? What is that even going to matter?
Exactly.
The fact that he has this belt is what makes him undisputed. And if they are being devalued because your favorite guy isn't getting his lollipop this week, then you don't care about them anyway. And if you don't care about them, then it doesn't matter that those belts don't validate a ranking over Lomachenko. On the flip side to his argument.
That's why I don't even take the belt seriously, man. You got to go all in and say they don't matter. They matter to the fighters because they make more money. That's true, but they're corrupt organizations that can make up the rankings as they go along. So they're meaningless at the end of the day. By the way, this guy there in Twitter, then, this is the guy that he had to do it. The Ring is a racist publication. Now, I haven't read this guy other tweets. I don't know if he's being facetious or not, or sarcastic perhaps. I don't know. Somebody should delve into this guy's tweets, see if he's being facetious, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's not. The Ring, so now they're blaming race for the fact that, and again, this is a mythical list. It's not an official list. They're not taking away the Ring magazine belt from him. It's just, hey, who are the top 10 pound for pound guys in the world? Haney's not in it. Oh, they gotta be racist. You see how people don't take him seriously? You see why boxing, when people go, well, the LDBC, this and that, they're the first ones that come up when you write boxing on YouTube, and these are the type of narratives that they're disseminating. Oh, a guy's not getting an opportunity, gotta be racism. Oh, a guy's not getting shine, gotta be racism.
Can I say something here?
Yes, please.
Remember, and this was after De La Hoya bought Ring Magazine. They had Broner at some point rated at number 4 in the pound for pound list. I don't know if you remember that. What's his name? Broner. Yeah, Broner. Number 4. And were they racist back then? Huh?
I think it was 5.
All right, 5, whatever. He shouldn't even have been there. So, yeah, they don't complain then, but when Haney is not in the top 10 pound for pound list, it's like fucking, it's an outrage.
It's privilege. It's privilege. It's affirmative action that we're seeing here. These people, and listen, they're going after the Asian. That's the thing that really disgusts me the most. Well, who is he? Who's Inoue? You want to downgrade one guy, one of the most entertaining and skilled fighters out there. That's real pugilism right there. That's real sweet science, what Inoue does. No, you got to tear him down because your guy, your boy, your Kang isn't on the list. I think that's disgusting. Want to give a shout out to Rocco Montero for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, Loma has to fight somebody because he has to wait. What would happen with the other fighters? So instead of just wait and don't fight, just fight. And don't compare Haney with Mayweather. Mayweather paid his feed early on in his career. Exactly. Look, oh my God. The fact that there were people out there, LDBC guys, making videos about how Loma is docking Haney, when they know full well Haney has to fight Kambosos again because it's in the contract. I mean, that's to Rocco Montero's point, that they keep comparing him to Mayweather. Mayweather fought Chicanito Hernandez and then Angel Manfredi.
Hernandez, then Angel Manfredi, and he went on like a 9-fight winning streak. Plus, the other undefeated guy in the division, Diego Corrales. Now, the weight issue is a behind-the-scenes thing historically, but what he did at that weight, his body of work, is unarguably what earns him the top 3 of that division of all time. Mm-hmm. With only Arguello and Chavez being able to be mentioned along with him in that weight. He's arguably the best 130-pound that ever lived.
There you go.
And it's because it's work he did there. He didn't just fight Hernandez and just go, okay, I won my one fight against the number 1 guy, I'm going to move on. No, he fought a number of guys there, 2 of which that went on to win world titles after he left.
And because he was hungry. He wanted to make money, Mayweather, and he wanted to establish a legacy. A lot of these guys, they want to stand back and have everything go to them. So shout out to Rocco Montero. Really appreciate it, man. And I completely agree with your points. The other thing is here, this guy here, 420, blaze up. My goodness. You a disgrace to boxing. You a disgrace to boxing. No wonder nobody lie your Ring magazine, guys. All right. So this is the type of brain trust that we have here behind Devin Haney. Then we have this guy here, Doug Fisher. You are showing your true colors to the world. And as a representative of Ring magazine, you're dragging them down with you. Majority of boxing fans are of the same mindset. An undefeated, undisputed champion should be on the pound-for-pound list ahead of a 2-loss non-champ. So again, they come back with the undefeated, undisputed. First of all, like I think it was Thomas Gray, or I forget what his name is, Gray on Ring Magazine. He defended the rankings, and he said, because Devin Haney said, I'm the youngest undisputed champion in the world. That should earn me top 10. And Gray said, well, that's exactly it. You're the youngest, which means you haven't accomplished that much, which means that compared to all these other fellas who have accomplished more and done it in more impressive fashion, you just don't cut it, kid. So when these people, they can talk about undisputed all they want, that's one win. And again, we already established that a guy can be pound for pound ahead of another guy, even if they're in the same division and that pound for pound guy is ranked below in that specific weight division's rankings. But you can still be above pound for pound based on your prior accomplishments. But these people don't get it. And I don't think they want to get it. I think they want to just go on and complain. Real quick, then you have this person saying, just another corrupt organization, talking about Ring Magazine, which isn't an official organization. It's a publication, for Pete's sakes. You would have expected these people to get this by now. Then you have this guy here says, that same guy, he says, his list deserves to be called. Lomo is on the list with 18 fights, 0 losses. 2. ESPN sees 0 and fighting tune-ups nonstop. They even said on the telecast that he was better than Ali. All right, well, first of all, that they said that he was better than Ali. I don't even remember if they said that. I think that was Bob Arum, not ESPN. And ESPN right now, that's what they do. They suck off the fighter that they want to be great next. Case in point, Shakur Stevenson. He's as boring as they come, and yet they keep on praising the guy as if he's the sweet science when he can't even stop anybody of note. But they keep talking about
the Ali shit was said by Bob Arum.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So that's what a company, a promoter, and a network are going to do. They're going to hype the guy up, just like they do with Shakur Stevenson. But you don't see Valdog, yo. You don't see him complaining about all of that. And by the way, again, ESPN says 0, and he's fighting tune-ups nonstop. You call Richard Comey and Nakatani tune-ups? I mean, Nakatani, who gave Teofimo Lopez a very hard fight to the point where Lopez said, no more tall guys. And then Lomachenko goes in and destroys that same Nakatani. Poof, easy. Comey, who stops Jackson Mariñez, runs through him. And then Mariñez, who schooled Rolly Romero, but they want to give Tank Davis credit for the Romero win. I'm going to get back to that, by the way. I'm going to get back to that. But before I do that, I want to tell you fellas to hit the like. I want to give a shout out to Dennis from Boston. Hold on a second. Where is it? I can't find his super chat. There we go. Shout out to Dennis F. from Boston who says, Pretty Boy Floyd was a beast. Money May, more like Haney. There you go. That's all these young guys. They're modeling their career after Money May as opposed to Pretty Boy Floyd when he was actually going out there. And you know what? If he would have stayed at lightweight or even junior welterweight, he would have notched more stoppages than he did later on fighting above, welterweight and junior middleweight. But by the way, we've got people here on the StreamYard calling in. We got Tinesh calling in. Tinesh, are you there? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. What's up? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, what's up, man? All right. What's on your mind?
Okay. What's up, man? I want to say this, man. I'm from the UK. So, unfortunately, or whatever, all the big fights happen in America. So, in order for me to watch it, I've got to stay up to 4 a.m. in the morning, 5 a.m. in the morning. I stayed up 5 a.m. in the morning to watch Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez.
Oof.
I saw what Valdez done to Burchelt. And I was like, okay, I'll stay up to watch this. It was, it's not Valdez's fault, it's Shakur's fault, but that was one of the most boring fights I'd ever seen. I logged off. And I think that fight was on the same night as Katie Taylor versus Serrano, which was one of the best fights I've seen. When it comes to guys like Devin Haney, I stayed up to watch Haney versus Kambosos. Let me just say this: I will never ever stay up ever again to watch a Devin Haney fight. I will wake up the next day, and I will, watch it on YouTube for free. You can't jab and hug for 12 rounds. I like Haney. He's a young guy. He's doing his thing, but you can't jab and hug for 36 minutes.
Yeah, that's not the sweet science, man. That's not the sweet science. Clinching is illegal. So there you go. Right off the bat, that invalidates it. It's not the sweet science.
What do you guys think about this? Do you think boxing needs to introduce some type of rule like I don't know, 3 clinches, then you lose a point? Like it has to be mandatory, like a 3 clinch rule.
Absolutely. L-Dog was here a couple of months ago when he said that, and I said, I completely agree with you. Yeah, 3,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not fair for Kambosos. I mean, Kambosos, fair enough. It's Kambosos' fault to an extent that he can't get past the jab. Mm-hmm. But when he does get past the jab and somebody bear hugs you, what can you do? It's not an MMA match.
Well,
exactly.
It is his fault that he had absolutely no answer for the jab. You're completely right there. Once it got to the point to where he did step inside in one of the rounds, I don't remember which one it was, and he tried to do some work. I don't think he did anything effective, but he tried to. That is when Haney started to grab, especially late in the fight. On the flip side, the Shakur situation, Shakur did everything he was supposed to. The fact that Valdez didn't try to do anything else to counter what Shakur was doing, that was Valdez's fault. He didn't do any game plan of what you're supposed to do against a southpaw, and that was all piss-poor preparation on his part. As far as that affecting pound-for-pound rankings, there does need to be a realm of entertainment. If there's a way to try and make, first of all, the world's not fair. So to try and make it fair to where a boring person that doesn't entertain anyone get ranked on an even scale as someone who's highly entertaining and maybe not as skilled, then it's still going to come down to personal preference. And you said yourself, you're never going to stay up to watch a Devin Haney fight again. Well, that has been cemented, the fact, and I'm not dissing you for this, but it's been cemented that he is not going to entertain you no matter what he does unless he really tries to change his style. And he can do that without putting himself in harm's way if he's as smart of a boxer as he says he is. So he does need to try and do something to attract people, because the other part of pound for pound is an unwritten rule, is star power. It just is.
Uh-huh.
You have to be able to, you've got to be some kind of a star, because if you're not, then they're just not going to, annoys like the Enigma. He's one of the bantamweights that actually makes it, but it's because he's exciting. He has star power. He sells to people. If you don't do that, if you don't get people's attention, they're never going to look at you and say, oh yeah, this guy definitely deserves to be on there. Juan Manuel Marquez had to win titles against multiple guys and go one heck of a streak in order to be on a pound for pound list, when we all knew he had the skill to be on it before that.
Well, and that's the other thing is, but yeah, the point is that Beterbiev and Inoue are doing it with skill. To say that Devin Haney is more skilled than them, I disagree, and we should do a film analysis on that at some point, because just because you're flashier doesn't make you more skilled. But real quick, I want to get back to Tinash here, because we do have to move on to another phone call here. But anything else you want to say, man, in regards to that?
No, not really. I'm just going to say this.
Yes.
If you live abroad and you have to stay up to 4 a.m., 5 a.m., or whatever it is, boring fighters, you'll hate them more. I don't hate Haney, but yeah. I'll leave
All right, yeah, there you go. No, I got you. But listen, yeah, it's pain in the ass staying up at 5 a.m. to watch a guy, and then he doesn't even throw a combo. That I hate, and you're absolutely within your right to not want to watch that guy. But anyway, listen, Tinash, thank you for calling in. Call back next time, right, man?
All right.
All right, take it easy, man. And by the way, yeah, shout out to Team Batman Boxing. He's reiterating a point that Butch has made before as well, and we've all made it as well. Knocking people out is a skill. You got to punch properly to land. You watch Devin Haney, there's something missing there with him. He's not punching properly. He doesn't have those heavy hands. That's a skill right there, all right? Taking it to a guy, breaking him down, chasing him down, cutting off the ring. Skill, sweet science, not running around clinching. Let's go to another phone call here. And by the way, whoever is on the phone line, by the way, stay tuned. I'm out here on the StreamYard with Kenshiro. Kenshiro, are you there?
Yeah, my friend, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing well as well, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing well, BDA. I mean, this, I don't know, man. This guy just makes me laugh. He talks about, he's the way he talks about the Ring magazine, like he wants to say, well, if you lot don't want me to wear it, I'll give it back. And when they say, well, give it back, then he starts pulling the race card out and crying like a victim. It's like, your best win is against somebody who wasn't pound for pound themselves. You haven't fought no great fights. You was in trouble with Laurinez. The amount of hugging you do, I thought you like an MMA fighter. It's like, get off your high horse, beat some people, stop trying to pull the race card out, and just get on with it. This narrative is just really starting to bore me now. It really is.
Absolutely, man. To be fair, though, Haney hasn't pulled out the race card yet. In this,
yeah,
about
not overtly, but inadvertently years.
Yeah, we know where he's coming from, and we know where his Nation of Islam father's probably whispering in his ear as well. But I mean, Kenshiro, what do you make of this? When you got guys saying he should be pound for pound because he's undisputed, but then at the same time, years ago, those same people were discrediting Lomachenko's win over Linares, saying, "Oh, Linares, he's had plenty of losses before." Now all of a sudden, Linares is a big win for Haney.
Well, yeah, but the way he beat Linares is not exactly the greatest way. Was it a points decision, correct?
That's right.
Right, yeah. And Linares has been knocked out numerous times before. And when you're saying to Linares, "Hey, dude, how hard do I hit?" Why are you really validation, man? You know what I mean? Shut the F up and just be a man. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, his best win. You look at his best wins. Are any of those people future pound for pound?
Maybe no, I don't think so. No.
Most of them were previously pound for pound.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said most of them weren't even previously pound for pound. Linares might have been on the cusp of some people's pound for pound, but Gamboa had far been removed, and Jojo Diaz has never been on anyone's pound for pound list. Neither is Kambosos.
There you go. So if with the LDBC, it's like.
Yep. Hello.
The exact same opponents. Would they be pound for pound? No, they wouldn't be. Or Asian or whatever, So, end of the day, you got the belts by beating one guy who was never pound for pound. Why should you be pound for pound? Because you got some, belts and JC Penny have more value than what he has right now. So I don't want to hear it, to be honest.
That's right. Well, listen, Kishiro, with great points, man. We do have to move on, man. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, guys, stay safe, and I'll hit you up on Friday or whenever we get a chance. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Fantastic, man. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy. All right, man. I want to bring something up here. Hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. And shout out to Texas Bulldog for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Kambosos couldn't adjust. It will be another 85 jabs. Well, it should be more, man. It should be more. Devin Haney should really try to improve on his performance because he left a lot to be desired in the first. And Kambosos too, by the way. If he does worse than he did in the first fight, I don't want to hear about him again for the long run unless he comes back with a couple more wins. So shout out to Texas Bulldog. I want to bring this up, going back to the tweets here. This guy goes, big organization coming for a champion who they totally disrespected. I mean, how did they disrespect him? Just because he's not on their mythical top 10 pound for pound rankings? But again, the victimhood here is disgusting. Anyway, he says, he speaks his dissatisfaction and neither want to come after him like he's the problem. Well, listen, when Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez, one loss, by the way, one close loss, I think they kicked him to the curb in the top 10 pound for pound rankings. What did he do? No complaining on Twitter, no crying. He goes up against Nakatani to upstage Teofimo Lopez, who as strong as Nakatani, boom, mops the floor with him. Steps in there against another top lightweight, Richard Cormier, hard hitting, strong. Could have stopped him had he not become a dick and started showboating. Could have stopped him, but even if he didn't stop him, won virtually every round. Top 2 lightweights. That's how you get back in the pound for pound rankings, by fighting and stop complaining and crying. And then this guy goes, stop using the belt for doctors. That's all that is being said loud and clear. Stop giving it to the docs. I'm curious, when did the Ring Magazine give the Ring Magazine belt to a doctor? Maybe I'm missing something here. Exactly, there you go.
The reason why crickets went off after you asked that question, they've never given the belt to a ducker. They did give it to Roy Jones, but that's a story for.
But recently, because again, no examples from these people. That's what I'm saying. They just say things.
Who's he saying is ducking though, Mr. BDA? Who is he implying is ducking? I know everybody's saying. I mean, not everybody by no means, but Haney fans are saying that Loma ducked him. Mm-hmm. That just didn't happen. The whole franchise thing didn't go down like that. In fact, if everybody remembers, I just want to say real quick on that. Especially that Dreamcatcher, the kid you talk about on Twitter, he's the one just 2 losses. They were razor-thin losses. Neither winner wanted anything to do with the rematch. They don't mention that, right? Okay. But then you take the fact that the people he's fighting in his second pro fight, any of these, if Haney would have fought Salido, who came in as a welterweight that night, was punched in the dick punched Loma in the dick all night, and Loma still came back to almost win. That being said, to MMA's, I just want to let him know, I don't think Loma should be on the top 10 right now. Why? Because he doesn't have a belt. Personally, I think he should be a world champion. He should be in charge, in possession of a real, not a junior, not a fucking Silva, not a Reggie, not a fucking one you went through the lucky, fucking cereal box. And for that, and I believe whether it was lame, and it was lame, it was the weakest 4-belt unification probably I'll see in my lifetime. It was, but he's got them. And because he has them, he has all the fucking belts, including ring and linear, you got to get, I personally would have him on the top 10. I wouldn't have him high, but he could be easily bumped the minute Loma took or anybody else, one with more credentials. So MMA threw his shot a little soon because I'm on the side of a lot of people I'm actually in the negative right now. That doesn't mean I fucking think, Haney's an exciting fighter. But I'm just going to be consistent. I personally don't think anybody should be in a top 10. Like, my top 10 is completely different, just the guys I want to see fight. But if you go by the criteria, it's usually world champion, belt holder. So I don't know why Ring did this. It was almost seemed like it would have been safer for them just to put him on there. I don't know. Maybe they wanted the controversy. I don't know. But it's funny that when something bad happens, in their eyes to Haney, right, and misjustice happened to Haney, how they go after Lomachenko, right across the board. It's not, listen, he should be there because this is what he did. This is your criteria. Argue your man's points. Argue why your boy should be on the fucking top 10. going after the Lomachenko, bringing up 2 losses is so fucking just gutless. It's just so gutless in an era when nobody fights anyone because they're afraid. I mean, Jamal Charlo's going on, what, 42? Has he fought anybody yet? You know what I mean? Seriously, he's in his 30s because he's so fucking scared about that. Oh, the whole PBC runs their ship like that over there. So don't hear me that. And to call Comey and the Japanese kid tune-ups when they would be Tank Davis's best wins is so disingenuous. It just makes you get to the point like, why am I wasting my time with these fucking, mass cognitive dissonance and fueled by, racial animus. And it's just disgusting.
It's victim mentality.
And that's my fucking rant, my brothers.
And by the way, man, I want to give a shout out to everybody out there. Hit the like. But I got so much stuff to get to here, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me here. There's another tweet. Well, because Skoon TV Network. I mean, what a name, by the way. It could very easily mispronounce it and I get in trouble. But Skoon TV Network says, "I got my hands full exposing the boxing media. I'll be glad when black fighters come together and show these hacks they can't get away with their nonsense." Well, first of all, there's already is a segregated community here, unlike any other in the YouTube boxing community. And it's called the LDBC. They can get away with whatever they want over there. Can get away
even
with
though they've rendered the old media completely irrelevant, they weren't able to save the PBC, who they had their full weight behind. I saw that tweet too. You know what I mean? Which is so true. They had the full weight of the fucking most powerful media entity in pro boxing today, the new media, according to Boxing Ego, and then yet it's a fucking husk of its original self. Sorry, BDA, I just wanted to, I remembered that.
That's all right, Jimmy. The other thing is this. Check this out. This guy goes, Taylor and Crawford are undefeated champions. Loma, not so much. The ring ranks Loma as the 4th best lightweight, yet he's the only lightweight in the ring pound-for-pound rankings. Make it make sense. Well, we already talked about that before when you can be, like if Crawford is number 2 or 3, I think, in the Ring Magazine pound-for-pound list. If he moves up to 154 and beats somebody there and becomes a top 10 junior middleweight, he's going to be pound-for-pound above Jermell Charlo, but behind him in the junior middleweight rankings. That's how it works. So what do you want? You want Crawford to move up to junior middleweight and that somehow drops him down in the pound-for-pound rankings because he's got to be behind Jermell Charlo in all aspects? That doesn't make sense. See, that's what I'm saying. These people, either they don't think properly, they don't put, they don't close their eyes, they don't squint them and really try to work hard to think these things through, or they just don't know boxing. I think they just started watching boxing 2 weeks ago. And finally, I want to show you. Well, go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I was just agreeing with you out loud.
Oh, well, I got something that you made a point here, and I think this guy missed that point in his tweet. He says, beyond Haney's reaction and giving Ring and Nat Fletcher's history, it seems really bad that a fighter that's 34, barely active, is ranked in the pound-for-pound above an ascending pound-for-pound, unranked, undefeated, unified champ that beat the guy that beat the 34-year-old. So again, undefeated, unified champ. Like they throw out all these adjectives there to try to boost up their guy. A 34-year-old that's barely active. He was active twice last year, but then he had to go into the Ukraine. So and he's going to be fighting now. So he's been pretty active, not as active as some would like him to be. Then Doug Fisher replied, "There's more to the 34-year-old's resume than the Lopez fight. Beating Cambosos, the man who beat the man who beat the man, made Haney the undisputed champ, but he still hasn't faced enough of his peers to claim to be the best lightweight." And then this guy replies, "That seems to be the Ring's party line. But since the Pedraza fight, he's only 4-1 over Crolla, Luke Campbell, and 2 post-Teo bouncebacks." He calls them 2 post-Teo bounce, but notice that's the same thing that those 2 other fellas did before. They don't name who those guys are. They just call them bouncebacks. I could do the same thing with Devin Haney, by the way. I could just call all his wins a bunch of tomato cans. That doesn't make him tomato cans, but hey, it's the words I'm using for, and people that don't know any better aren't gonna be able to realize that. And then, but that's not the most egregious part. Check this out. Even Tank's wins since 2020, Santa Cruz, Barrios, Isaac Cruz, and Rolly are without question, more impressive. Yet he's ranked under Loma at 135. So let's go back to that. Santa Cruz, little Santa Cruz, 126. Nobody gave him a shot. I remember going to at that time I was going to other panels. Nobody gave him a shot to beat the bigger, stronger, faster Tank Davis. Barrios, okay, I gave him some credit for moving up to 140, even though a lot of people didn't. But Barrios should have lost to Akhmedov, by the way. All right, so let's not make him out to be the 140-pound champ. Isaac Cruz was supposed to be a cherry pick that went wrong. Extremely close fight, and I don't even know if he was ranked top 10 in any lightweight rankings, or at least the Ring magazines. And Rolly Romero. So you went okay. So he calls Richard Comey a post-Theo bounce back, right? But Comey is the guy that ran through Jackson Marinas. Marinas is the guy that outboxed and exposed Rolly Romero for being a limited fighter. But he wants to give Tank Davis credit for beating Rolly Romero. I'm telling you, fellas, these people, they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm sick and tired of having to sit here and pretending these people are racially motivated. And if they're not racially motivated, they're motivated by something else. I don't know, Satanism, satanic black magic. I don't know what it is. But that's the way it's starting to smell like to me, because these people make no gosh darn sense, man. And it's really starting to affect how boxing works. Thank goodness that we got a lot of good people out there in the boxing community that are educating people. And we got a lot of knowledgeable boxing fans. As you have seen, they've been calling in, and they're in the chat right now. But, I mean, why would you fucking want to keep pushing this obsession with the O? And that's how we get boxing. The big fights don't get made because everyone's obsessed with the O. I think that's ridiculous. What else was I going to bring up here? Hold on a second. Well, I mean, Jimmy, what do you make of all this? It's a mythical pound-for-pound list, and they're playing victimhood over it, over something so insignificant.
It's everything reflects culture, bro. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, if you can racialize, say that a white woman, being happy to dance in the rain is now racist. If you videotape yourself happy in the rain, it's racism. So that just to go to the extent that what everything can be racialized and politicized. Mm-hmm. That's why I guess throw this out. I really, it's so funny. Before last night's fights on ESPN, I'm sitting, turning to my wife, I'm like, you know what? We don't have enough politicalized ideologues in our sports. You know what I mean? Obviously, I didn't. But then see Jared Anderson come out in fucking leg irons, bringing attention. It's like, dude, leave that shit the fuck on Twitter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's really, dude. Don't start that bullshit, dude. Okay, now it doesn't, because we know where it all leads to. And it's like, just fucking A. It was just disappointed because I was high on the kid. I'm still high on him, but, it is what it is. And it just adds to it. It's constant. It's just a constant degradation. You can say what you want about Lomachenko with impunity, nothing based on facts. That's the reason why the followers or his detractors always start with the name calling. Oh, man. They'll start with the name calling because they don't have the facts on their side. And again, I agree Haney should run on a list and not Loma over Loma. But do I think he's better? No. Do I think he's more accomplished? Of course not. And to hang their hat and to hold on to those 2 losses like it's the fucking antidote to life. Like, oh, you got 2 losses. Yeah, and look at those losses. Razor-thin losses against a 2-time, 2-division world champion, one of the dirtiest motherfuckers, who came in 11 pounds heavier than him the night in the ring and punched him in the dick all night to the point the ref had to apologize. And he still almost came back and won on his second pro fight. So that's a lot of nuances around that fucking loss. The second loss, razor thin, lost my book by 1 round. And I know for a fact he would have beat him the second in a rematch, and so did Lopez. That's why he wanted nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing to do with it. And he made it clear. So, you know what I mean? None of those nuances get thrown in. He says never got the respect. It's not as vicious as it's gotten, at least a little better, because I thought Gennady took it even worse. But you can see what it is. My thing is this, dude. You look at the most ridiculous, factually absurd shit tweeted about Lomachenko. When you look at it, right, and you just say, 32 retweets, 103 likes. You flip down, just hit like button and look at them. Right down at all the avatars. When time after time after time, 99.9% is a certain ethnicity, it's clearly not just a fucking anomaly, you know what I mean? Statistical anomaly. It's something fucking going on. And it's obviously based in something. If the people are tribalized, fine. If you want to be tribalistic and say, I'm going to fucking pull and go for my kind, whatever, fine. I respect that. That's your opinion. But not at the degradation of another ethnic group. And
at least be honest about it. At least be honest.
Exactly.
About it. That's the way.
Exactly.
Did I like Klitschko? Yes, I did. I like Klitschko very much.
Oh,
the
wait a
fact that
minute.
he was white have something to do with it. Yes, it kind of did, because everyone said that white guys couldn't fight at heavyweight, and he proved a lot of that wrong. It wasn't the fact that I was only like, oh, I hate all black heavyweights. It was nowhere near with the motivation behind it. I was happy to see someone from an area of the world that no one predicted could do such a thing, be on top for as long as they did, especially after they wrote him off so quickly when he hit a speed bump in his career, and then he goes through and he dominates more. As weak as the division may have been, he dominated in a way that most heavyweights haven't dominated in other weak divisions.
I mean,
in
but
other
could he
weak
have?
eras.
Okay, I get all that, but could he have at least try to make it entertaining or something? Because my goodness gracious, that Klitschko, his reign, I stopped watching it after 2008, man. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. No, man, seriously, come on.
I mean, man got a lot of hate for being boring, yet they watch Andre Ward and Floyd Mayweather, but Klitschko got knocked. So I didn't get all of it. I was entertained by most of his career. Not every fight. There were fights. There were definitely stinkers. Brag Me Off was one of them that comes to mind, and that was a very big hit because they wanted to bring him back over to try and make him close to undisputed, and it was a unification belt that did in Madison Square Garden. It was a huge event, and a Brag Me Off wanted to do nothing other than make
Vlad
look bad.
You give me the whole story. I didn't even want to get started. Hey, we got somebody calling on the StreamYard. Haney Promotions. Haney Promotions. What's on your mind? No, he left. All right. Hey, can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, BJ.
Okay. So there was somebody calling in on StreamYard. Sorry.
Yes,
no, but Chief.
Yes.
But Chief, I get what you're saying. What?
Before we get off, too, I want to talk about, I want to settle out once and for all about... Oh, you got something? All right.
Sorry, it's my connection's getting fucked up. I don't know if you guys can hear me. For fuck's sakes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yeah. I can hear you.
Sorry about that. Bear with me because the connection's getting all fucked up here. And the phone lines got cut off as well. All right, I think we're back. I think we're back. Sorry about that, fellas. People are saying buffering. Okay, if it's buffering, hold on. Let me write it here in the refresh stream. All right. I felt behind on something here. I'll let you go, Jimmy, but let me just read the super chat here that I missed. Plutonium Loach says, Kenshiro is Billy Joe Saunders in disguise. Kenshiro is Billy Joe Saunders in disguise. And then he says, Devin is the biggest panocha in boxing history. Oh, well, I wouldn't call him the biggest panocha, but he's acting like one right now, throwing a hissy fit over pound for pound ranking. So shout out to Plutonium. Shout out to Rapback Trucking Company for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Salido violated the Marquis of Queensberry rules against Lomachenko. Oh, he did. Man, let me tell you something. He violated something awful. That's for sure. All right, we got Jimmy. You want to say something?
I wanted to mention even Boom Boom calls in, which, he's not disrespectful about it, but he says that the whole franchise, taking that to duck, Haney, they just run with that narrative and they don't look at the whole truth behind it or what was going on at the time. They say he's been ducking them for years. Back in 2019, just 3 years ago when this happened, Haney was still a fucking prospect. He wasn't in January of 2019, even the transitional ranking board didn't even have him in the top 10. It wasn't until the WBC had him in the rank number 7th when a month earlier, the fucking WBC put out, hey, listen, we have franchise belts. Here's the criteria. Bob saw it, said, yep, Loma fits for that criteria. I'm going to ask for the franchise. And it was to avoid mandatories. And I'll explain what happened. It wasn't because of fucking him. They were in the middle right now. When that was going on, they were trying to make the Teofimo fight. That was what Bob was fucking, and they were focusing on. What happened was Hearn tried to bring the Corolla fight. Remember when Loma fought Corolla? He tried to bring that to purse bid. So it ended up costing Bob a ton of money, I guess $1 million more than he wanted to pay Corolla. So to avoid that from happening, when he saw that, wait a minute, I don't have to worry about the mandatory, so no more purse bid bullshit. Okay, focus on doing the female fight taken care of. And of course, Loma wasn't expecting to lose. He didn't think he was going to lose, so it wouldn't have mattered. So when they, obviously he was going to take that and had to give up his belt, they went down their rankings, and WBC had Haney. But Haney had never sent a contract offer prior. DAZN never sent a contract offer to Top Rank to fight. And the reason being, They were at the different times of their career. He was still a prospect chewing on fucking old fucking Cuban dudes. So there was not a duck. And to say with even the slightest bit of fucking honesty that Haney to fight Teofimo Lopez, who at the time, not talking about, this is pre-losing to Kambosos, when he was kind of a boogeyman with his power. He was fucking putting people's lights out quick as lightning. Nobody, including his fans, was saying that fucking Haney was, well, no, they were saying it, even some were saying that, but nobody was saying that was a duck to take on. When he was going after Lopez, it was like, holy shit, he's going to take on him. So the fact that this kid is, like you say all the time, Mr. BDA, you never hear about him arguing about prices. You never hear him trying to price himself out of this. Yep, let's make the fight. Remember, the only reason why fucking, and this goes to Mr. Haney, Bill Haney, and that knucklehead idiot comments he made on with those LDBC people about what war? What war? Why is he back? First off, he was with the militia. The only time you have to follow militia rules is when in active fighting, like if you're with the militia during some kind of engagement. Other than that, you can come and go as you fucking please. And nobody's going to tell him, no, you can't go do something. If he's angry enough and wants to go out and do something and it's guerrilla warfare, you know what I mean? Who knows what he did? I don't know. I'm not going to comment because I don't know. Nobody knows who he lost over there. The city he grew up in was shelled. And he's a kid who loves his country enough to fight twice in the Olympics. My point being, for them to denigrate that, oh, who says he went anywhere? Because he came back. For the war's still going on. How could he leave? Like, really, dude? You really have to be explained the difference between somebody just volunteers for a militia and somebody in the armed services.
They're not the brightest.
Everything they say, everything falls apart, brother. And I just wanted to say that. I could go on longer in explaining about that belt thing, but he wasn't avoiding Haney.
They're not
Bob
the brightest
was trying
people.
to save money.
You've explained it ad nauseum here, and they still don't get it because they'd rather believe that Lomachenko is really. I mean, look at who Lomachenko has fought. You think he's really scared about fighting Haney? I mean, you want to talk about being scared. You want to talk about scoring knockouts and hurting people. Again, Haney fought two guys, Gamboa and Linares, that had been stopped before. He couldn't even fucking wobble them.
Linares was stopped in the first round, wasn't he? In the fight before, knocked out in like the first round.
But that's the thing, though. Lomachenko, not only did he stop Linares, he became the first one to, from the get-go, he outboxed him and outworked him. And everyone was always just knocking him out, losing and then knocking him out, or knocking him out early in the fight. This guy went into the deep end with him, actually hit the canvas one time there, and then he got back up, continued outworking him and outboxing him, and then stopped him. But no, they didn't give him credit then because Linares had been stopped before. But now all of a sudden, that Linares win, it becomes one of the big wins there for what's his name? For Haney. And by the way, speaking of this, there's a guy there in because this is all racial. Let's face the facts, and I'm tired of giving these people passes and saying, oh well, they're not. It's not all of them. I can count on the fingers on my hand the amount of black boxing fans have called into this show. That's it. That means there's not that many. It just seems to me, and I'm sorry to say this, but it seems to be the truth. A lot of black boxing fans out there, if they want to call themselves boxing fans, it's about race for them. Maybe they're scared that they're going to be called, Uncle Tom, this and that. They got a good system over there of keeping people in line, like in prison, staying on code. But I don't hear them calling out the LDBC. There's only a few. Like I said, I can count them on the fingers of my hands. And so, case in point, I want to bring this video up here from BK Boxing. Everyone go check out BK Boxing. And this is after, this just gives you an insight into the average black person out there when they watch sports, or especially boxing, and how they think. This is after Fury beat Wilder in the third fight, all right? Check this out.
Shit. What's your thoughts, CC? Man, listen, I done screamed so fucking much, my throat is so dry. Listen, he went out the way he's supposed to.
Nah, blah, blah, blah. Hold on a second.
I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying? I'm hurt. I don't like.
This is BK Boxing's editing.
That shit. I don't like it. And I gotta be honest, I don't like these white motherfuckers thinking they got an upper hand on us.
Did you hear what she said? Let me replay that.
Like it. And I gotta be honest, I don't like these white motherfuckers thinking they got an upper hand on us.
I don't like this. So it's a sporting event, by the way. It's a sporting event between two guys, not even a team, not a city versus city, not country versus country. She says, I don't want these white motherfuckers thinking they have an upper hand on us. Now, does that mean that when she watches black fighters beating up other non-black fighters, does that mean she looks at it as black people having one up on other races? That's the way it sounds like to me, fellas.
Is that CC the Great chick?
Well, I wouldn't see. I don't know what's so great about her, but yeah, I think that's what her.
I know, but that's her handle.
Right.
CC the Great.
So
yeah, she. I mean, did you see that tweet involving her? I just got to add, just to show you her mindset. She laughed. Oh, you were going to show that? Were you going to play that?
Well, maybe later, but I just want to stick to this thing about the race. I want to stick about the race because I've heard people calling in here and like MMA champ, who's half trolling, by the way, but he goes, "Oh, you guys are racist."
Yo.
When do we we always cover boxing, whether we like a guy or not? We always show up here and we call and we talk boxing. But they call us and they call us racist. You never hear these people call into the LDBC shows and call them racist. A, because they can't call in, they don't allow you to. They've got 50 moderators in their chat that they'll take you out as soon as you say something that's out of line or out of code, as they say in prison. And B, they don't really want to go after these people because if they do, they're going to be called Uncle Tom, Coon, all these words, and that's how they self-regulate over there. Nobody wants to be almost everybody out there likes to talk about how I'm a lone wolf. I don't roll with the pack. I go against the grain. But in reality, most human beings want to be part of the pack. They want to be part of the group. And if you're isolated or exiled, it hurts. And that's how it works for a lot of these people. They don't want to be ostracized. So at the same time, they recognize that the LDBC, they're a bunch of idiots, but at the same time, they don't want to go against them because they want to stay black, baby, everything black. And that's what this woman is essentially saying. This gives you the insight into. Let me just replay that for those of you that just tuned in.
Yes, please replay that because I didn't hear it. I gotta hear that.
I don't like that shit. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I gotta be honest, I don't like these white motherfuckers thinking they got an upper hand on us.
Because of a sporting event. That's how insecure these people
are.
Out,
though. It keeps cutting out. Like, if we get the I don't like it, then there's a little bit of music.
And then it stops, yeah.
Okay, well, that's what she said. Okay, well, maybe you'll hear it better on YouTube. People on YouTube can hear you guys. The connection here's a little fucked up. But then let me show you something else she says here. That's what she says. She says, I don't like these white motherfuckers thinking that they have an upper hand on us. That's what she said, okay? And then she says this.
He's still a champ.
Yeah.
Fury, Bobby back.
Absolutely. Every day.
Oh, okay, here we go.
It's Bomb Squad all day, every day. So now we in a situation.
Big Shamu looking ass. It's still Team Wilder. Period.
Absolutely.
Still Team Wilder. I don't like it.
I'm looking for the specific part here.
Okay.
He's still a champ.
Yeah, it you know. Okay.
Anyway, there's a part where she says, I'm black before I'm anything else. I'm going to find it here. It's a short clip. But she says, I'm black before I'm anything else. So again, the people that cry racism the most, everyone's racist. Like the people defending Bill Haney, I showed you the tweets. Oh, but the Ring magazine's a racist organization. So the same people that see race everywhere, they're anything else. They're black before they're Christians. They're black before they're Americans. They're black before they're...
I think I got that.
No, I know. It's like, well, you can't hear it properly here because I'm...
That shows that whatever... So it shows whatever platform she's on is not to be any kind of journalist, reporter, or anything professional, because someone who's truly like that doesn't put race before the facts. If you're going to call Wilder still the champ to you in your heart, that's one thing. You're a fan of his. You know, some people still think Mike Tyson's the champ in their heart. I get that. Okay, there's nothing. I'm not going to discredit that. But if your job is to try and be on a platform to where you're trying to produce facts and call things honestly, you're exposing the fact that you're charlatan. You're nowhere near that, and you don't have the capability, maturity, mentally or mentality to be able to perform that because you don't know how to suspend that level. Mm-hmm. You've shown the fact your intellect isn't wide enough to be able to take on a role such as that.
Well, she was a member of the LDBC.
No kidding.
Which call themselves New Media.
Oh my goodness. And you know, listen, shout out to Rex for his contribution with the super chat. He says, it's pathetic, honestly. Loma is pound for pound number one. Never lost a fight, and these vouchers are crying over a guy who swims up with P. Diddy. It's the reign of denial. I don't know if he's still... Rex is one of the guys that he contends that Lomachenko is still pound for pound number one. I don't know if
never
I can
lost
agree
a fight,
with that.
never lost a round. Never lost a fight, never lost a round.
Yeah, that's what he likes to say. But shout out to Rex. I'd buy that for $1. I'd buy that type of Moxie for $1, let me tell you. And shout out to Plutonium. Shout out to Plutonium Loach. He says, Bill Haney looks like a wrestler Doink with his hair. I don't know, Doink. Was that the clown from the 90s? But shout out to Plutonium. Jimmy, go into that though a little bit. Jimmy, go into that. What was it? The clip that you said that this CC Ryder was saying about Loma?
Yeah.
The prison. Something about prison.
Yes, she was on. She's the one. She was on with the other fucking ex-con, one who fights. He's a dog man. After the Wilder lost to Fury, he said Wilder's gamey. And I know that a lot of people don't know what that is. So I have that up on you because I'm a dog man, and I saw gaming him. Anyways, that's a terminology used in dog fighting. He breeds and fights dogs. So there's a special place in hell for that dude. He also did prison time for pandering and pimping. The other one talking with Haney at the time was Cece, who's been in and out of prison. She was involved in she had 52 felony warrants up for
he's got a fucking dossier
credit
here.
card scam and fraud, multiple state credit card fraud. So while incarcerated in Chicago, Cook County, the girl she called her best friend, she told a story about because she has on her page thing called CC's Prison Story Time. And so she tells stories about, being in prison. So funny. I don't even think I know a woman who's ever been to prison. But anyways, so so she goes on to say how her bestie was mad at her sister. So she grabs her sister's kitten or cat and punched it and then stabbed it to death. And she let out the longest belly laugh. Like, couldn't even go on talking about it. She thought that was the funniest. And I'm like, sick to my stomach. Like, you punched and stabbed somebody's cat? Like, so it goes to show you the fucking mindset. And for her now, for me to hear her say that, like, I don't want these white motherfuckers to think they have something else. Like, who even thinks like that? There's something seriously fucking wrong with what's going on. But you know what? You can't even blame the low IQ people when the media is pumping that kind of fucking evil into their head 24/7.
Exactly. Jimmy, you hit the nail on the head, as you often do, man. We should call you the Hammer, because you just don't miss, man. And by the way, Jimmy, let's
call you the fucking special agent, the way you break out these files.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jimmy sounded like a fucking Charlie Sheen in Apocalypse Now, It was like West Point.
This CC character, she did 2 bids, one for fucking philandering and one for fucking dog fighting.
Well, that was 78, not 78, that was, 78 Sports.
Picture.
Korea
8x10 black and white picture of her. Here, this is a CC character.
Korea Airborne, about 1,000 decorations, etc., etc. No, but listen,
that's right.
We got to give a Haymanites credit too for that clip. He's the one that put that clip up on Twitter of them laughing about somebody murdering an innocent cat and an innocent animal. Let me go to see if the phone lines are working here. Let's hopefully they can hear me. 510, you're on the air. Can you hear me? 510. 510, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, man. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I mean, while we're on the topic of LDBC and ducking, I don't think I've seen any of them post about Demetrius Andre doing a blatant duck on Janabek. And they're making an excuse that, like, he's trying to chase the Canelo fight at 168, but Canelo's been in that division since like 2018, 2020, and he's been fighting trash mandatory since then. But as soon as he gets an actual hard mandatory that would probably beat him, I have Janabek knocking him out. He goes and then moves up to 168. That's a blatant duck.
Absolutely. Yeah, but have you made the rounds? I haven't made the rounds yet, but none of them are talking about Andre.
No, I don't think so. Every single time I look up Andre, I don't think any of them are actually uploading anything.
Let me guess. They're talking about Spence Crawford still, right? Probably, if you look it up.
Yeah, most likely.
Somebody just said that was going to be announced today. Obviously, I didn't hear nothing.
Hopefully it is, Jimmy. Hopefully it is. But caller, anything else you want to say, man?
Nah, that was it.
It's a good point, by the way. It's a good point. They don't want to talk about that. They talk about what they perceive as injustices when there are no injustices with a mythical pound-for-pound list. But when it comes to Andre ducking, well, all of a sudden, nothing to be said about that. Well, listen, 510, thank you for calling in, man.
All right.
All right, take it easy.
About Andre, though, if he does fight Zach Parker next, I would say Parker has knocked out more quality people than Janabek, who Janabek's good. I mean, is he going to be great? That's, to be seen. I definitely like his chances against Andre. But if he does, and it's an if, but if he does go on to fight Zach Parker at 168, then I'll forgive that. I'll forgive him not fighting Janabak. But if he goes on to fight another domestic level talent guy, forget it. I'll never even waste my time with him again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to another phone call.
Andrade's basically just bullshitted his way into no one gives a shit about him, one way or the other.
He did a weird job of doing that, man. 480, you're on the air. 480, you're on the air. 480, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, 480, you're on the air.
Okay. All right, so BDA, you have an issue with, like, you know, racial talking points from the LDBC, excuse me, or whatnot, but what about when you promote the CCDC on your Discord?
I promote it?
Don't they say racist shit too?
No, they're not racist. They allow anybody on there. We already went through this rare breed. Is this rare breed?
Well, what LDBC show do you know that even has an open lines like?
That's my point. That's my point. Have you ever tried calling in there? That's my point. Have you ever tried to call in there and complain to them about them not covering fights that involve non-boxers, non-black boxers? Have you ever tried?
No, they won't take your call.
They won't take your call. We're the only ones that take your call. We're the only ones. You're on the Discord all the time. We allow you to be there. Everyone has a good time. Can you do that with any other fucking community out there? LDBC.
Well, I don't even know a Discord for LDBC.
Well, there you go.
Either way, I'm sure they allow all types of people on there. Is it pro-black? But either way, they don't have pictures of Mexican people, you know, in sombreros and eating tacos. Like
there's nothing racist about that. We do wear sombreros, man. We do wear sombreros and we do eat tacos. So what's racist about that?
Okay, yeah, but it's not like you know, showing like stereotypical pictures of Mexicans, you know. Well, like big teeth and just, you know,
you're caught up with one channel. You know? You're caught up with a CCD, one channel. You're like one channel. There's one channel that you're like only talking about. Are there other channels? No, there aren't. You know the LDBC. Like, do you know there's like over 100 LDBC channels out there? It's a big ass fucking community.
But listen, we're talking about now. He brought up the CCD. I'm talking about the fact that I just presented evidence of tweets of people going on and on making this racial about the Devin Haney thing. I just showed you a clip of how they
show you examples too. But like, why is one bad? And the other
from
good?
The CCD, that one channel. This is the thing. This is because we've been dealing with the LDBC for a long time, and these LDBC apologists, right? They come out and they say, well. Yeah, they're bad, but there's other people on the opposite side of what opposite side? Like they could never. I asked one guy, can you name me all these other channels that are like the LDBC but are not pro-black? They're pro something else. And that guy was like, he was trying to think, Thunderdome, and now it's what CCD.
Bucho.
Come on, man! Like you gotta step up your game, man.
So Bucho, let me make a statement. So let's say there are black fans out there who are anti-white, anti-Latino. Is it hard to believe that there's Latinos and white fans out there that are anti-black? Is that hard to believe?
No, it's not hard to believe. We're talking about quantity here. Quantity. Is it hard to believe that there's a group that is much more racist than the other?
Well, yeah, that's typical of human beings. You think your side is good and the other side is evil.
You know what? The interesting thing here is,
no. This is based on evidence. I can give you the evidence. It's just count the channels. Just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers. This isn't made up. This isn't subjective. This is a fact.
Hey, well, let me say something. Let me say something. We've been going on, Redbridge, you've been calling in for months saying, you keep saying that, oh yeah, I can show you stats too, but you never show them because you don't have them. So here's my thing.
I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you that. Nobody does.
Here's my thing. I'm talking, let me finish, please. We got this channel where we allow anybody to call in. We point out We point out hypocrisies. We stick to boxing as much as possible, but every once in a while, like in an episode like this, we gotta point out that there's ghetto-ass nimrods out there that make everything about race, and there's no other group like that in the YouTube boxing community. Now, as long as this channel exists, we'll let anybody on. Open door policy. Now, if you have anything against this channel, I'd like to hear it.
There are plenty of channels like that. Boxing Gems is similar to yours. Anybody can call in. The Mac Mob. There's plenty of black channels. that allow everybody to call in, but you just want to focus on the so-called LGBT racist ones.
Well,
so
they
I want to
exist.
focus on the CCC.
Well, they exist.
What do you mean so-called? Are they racist or not? Do you think they're racist or so-called?
Cool.
You said these so-called
whatever
racist
her
channels.
name is, I don't pertain to her views. So.
Well, there you go. Now we're getting.
Do you think these channels are racist? Yes or no? Do you think these channels are racist? Do you think these channels are racist?
Which one?
Yeah, which one are you talking about?
78 Sports, that one that Mr. BDA with that lady there, and Black TV.
I think CC is, but the guy who has the show, the main trail boxing talk, I don't think he's a racist.
Okay, then let me ask you this: do you ever call into the show or try to call into the show and tell her why do you have a racist on it?
I don't think they let people call in.
Well, there you go. There you go. But hold on a second.
No,
we do because we let anybody call in because we got nothing to hide. It's boxing over here. We'll let anybody call in and we'll debate that.
There are plenty.
How many wrenches do we give out? How many wrenches in the chat?
Same thing. Do you want a cookie?
Okay, wait. Now, hold on. Let me finish him. Because now Redbridge is being condescending. Because again, that's what he does when he gets locked into an argument that he can get out of. Now you're saying that we want to cook. So what else? What else do you got, Redbridge? Anything else you want to say?
Redbridge.
No, I just want to point out the hypocrisy. That's all.
What's the hypocrisy? We're pointing out the fact that we're pointing out the fact we're pointing out
a racist Mexican channel on your show, but you're here complaining about black racist channels, boogeyman, whatever you want to call it.
Well, hold on a second. Let's say we were promoting. Let's say we were promoting a racist channel. Let's say we were, which we're not. That doesn't invalidate what Bucho said. The other channels out there, the multitude, the plethora of LDBC racist black channels out there. It seems, but hold on. So here's the thing. Hold on. Let me finish. Here's the argument. Here's the Redbridge. Here's the argument. You can't defend these channels. So instead of defending them or saying or trying to find out how to defend, because you can't, you go, well, you do this. Again, you got no argument. There's a lot more black racist channels out there than there are non-black channels, and you're gonna have to live with them, man. And we're running out of time. Hold on. We're running out of time with the phone. We're running out of time with the phone lines here. As you saw, we got a minute and a half left, so we got to move on to another phone call. Again, you didn't bring up. You can't argue your point. You're defending the LDBC. You're defending LDBC channels and black racists. No, I'm not cutting you off. I let you talk, and nothing.
Send him a link.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, listen, Redbridge, you're gonna have to try. Listen, Redbridge, find the evidence that you so-called have, because apparently there's a lot of evidence out there of non-black racist chants. And then we'll talk. Until then, everything you're saying is just you don't have any facts. You got to back it up with facts. All right, take it easy. Fuck, we got 4 phone calls here, and we only got a minute left. I don't know what... Okay, I'm going to answer all of them. And see who... that's what I have to do. Okay, hold on a second. Let's do this one at a time. One at a time. 747. You're on the air. 747. What's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, sir. What's on your mind?
Hey, just real quick to the Devin Haney's dad talking shit about Lomachenko going to war, never seeing anything. Real quick, in 2011, I was in the Marine Corps. I served in Afghanistan. I didn't see anything. Nothing happened to me, but, I rode helos. I did convoys. I did security. At any moment, something could happen to you. So he needs to shut the hell up about that. And I only bring it up because yesterday when you made the post about, or the day before, when you made the post about Haney crying that they're going to take his belt away, I made a comment on it, and somebody replied to it this morning, and I want to read you this comment. It's from David White. He said, Doug Fisher is not too smart talking crap online to Devin Haney, who has a lot of soldiers nationally in his corner who are willing to fall on a bomb for him. So how are you going to say that and then talk shit about Lomachenko?
That's a good question.
That's the biggest hypocrisy in the world.
They're not too bright. That's what I'm trying to... I mean, you just saw Redbridge here, whom we give him all the chances in the world to call in and make an argument. He can't. And that's the same thing with these people on Twitter, man. They like to talk about what about isms. Well, what about this guy? Well, what about if this guy... I mean, it's not an argument.
I don't know, man. These guys are dumb as dirt.
Well, I think that's selling dirt a little short. By the way, we also have 570 on the line. 570, you there?
Yep, I'm here. So, in regards, what was that guy's? Not the caller just got off. The previous one that was making all those amazing points. Who was that?
That was Redbridge.
So
rare breed.
What that guy just he just made my whole entire point when I first called in today. What we've been experiencing the past probably 3 to 5 years is a concerted effort to gaslight white people and allow black people to shit talk and to put white people down. Listen, this is all ordo ad chaos, order out of chaos. These people, you gotta wake up, man. You gotta fucking wake up. It is so plain to see. These are probably the same people that are still wearing masks, taking experimental mRNA gene therapy.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute, what?
Wake the fuck up.
I know, man, but listen, some of these guys, you know well enough, you can't explain it to them. You tell them, they still see, all they see is black and white. They don't see anything else, man. And some of these people, they love being in that type of state. They love going after white people and vice versa.
Listen, left wing, I know, and it's Trump. It's this Trump. Listen, fuck Trump. He's a pedophile. You don't get to that position unless you do certain things. So people it's left wing, right wing. It's two wings of the same fucking bird. And until we come together in this country, we are very close. A civil war is about to happen. Okay, lockdowns are about to happen. Get out of this victimhood mentality mindset and this white-black bullshit. Let's start getting back to community. Let's start uplifting each other. Enough of the bullshit, man. Enough of the bullshit. It's disgusting.
Well, listen, we're going to talk about that more in Second Renaissance, man. But thank you for your call, man, and we'll catch you in the next one, right, man?
That caller was all over the place.
That's how it should be, because it's a very intricate system here. Well, I mean, listen, all of this to say, I'm black before I'm anything else, and I don't like white people thinking they have one up on us. That's essentially the black community in a nutshell, right there. Yeah. When it comes to boxing and sports, they look at it as they're racing and to be so low self-esteem, like, and to put all your eggs into a sports figure that you don't even know, and that is not advancing the cause for you in any large degree. I think that's very low class, and I think it's pathetic. So that's the way these people
do the thing. And then it's funny how they're bringing up these other channels. Oh, these channels are more racist, so that they're even worse. You know, like we're bad, but there's other ones that are worse. Like seriously, man, the LDBC has been around for a long time. They were never complaining, and now you have this other channel, CCD. You could say that it's like the opposite, and they're crying. And oh no, now we have something like now we're exposing you because you've mentioned this channel before. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned 78 Sports and all
for
that.
all these years. You never did shit, never complained, never did anything. All of a sudden, there's one channel. There's one channel.
You know what? What it reminds me of? It reminds me of.
What's your? Yeah. Go ahead.
It reminds me of little kids when one sibling gets caught for something. He tries to tattletale on the other. Yeah, but he did this. That's exactly, they're children. It's a childlike mentality. Peter Pan land, Wonderland. I mean, come on. It's disgusting. It's disturbing, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies just talking about it because these people are so.
Look at the size of one of my favorites. So what you're trying to say when they do that, when they completely just say something totally different than what you're saying. So what you're trying to say is that's what usually that type of that's where those arguments follow.
I mean, listen.
What you're saying is, secretly, you're a racist. Like, secretly. Like, how do you... what? You're in my mind? You're in my mind now? The fuck?
Just admit you don't like black boxers. That's the one I like. I literally got that one because I picked one black boxer against another on Twitter, and I actually got that in my mentions. Just admit you don't like black boxers. The kid got hammered, ratioed, but still, I was like, is this like fucking just... Yeah, so that's where we're at.
Well, listen, every once in a while, we got to do this type of episodes where we call them out. Because, listen, it's like in The Godfather. Every once in a while, every 6 months, it clears out the bad blood. That's what we're doing here. We're clearing out the bad blood.
I think we should keep exposing them. Like, it's enough.
It's enough.
And you know what, though? We should always
another event's going to happen.
Oh, sorry, Bucho. I'm going to barely hear you, dude. I was going to say, we should always give props like New Media Today, like Coach Malachi. He really tries to find the facts and shit. He has Julius on his show, and he took, he pushed against it. They attack him something awful. T Street controversy. I like his stuff. And you're 100% right, BDA, that you see them get it. That's when if you're confident in what you're saying, you don't care if it's challenged because you know you're confident, you're ready to stand up and talk. When you're not allowing anybody to debate you, or better yet, when you attack and then try to shut down those who talk different.
Thank you
and
for
I've seen it.
using
I've seen
Blog
like
Talk Radio.
the Uncle
Goodbye.
Tom and the dog piling on guys like T Street and Coach because they use those words, Coach. Code, Uncle Tom, all the horrible shit. They attack their ethnic pride. Why would they do that unless because they know it weakens this position? They try to hold everybody in line. And what sucks about Red Breed when he doesn't see what you guys are trying to say is Red Breed's not a stupid cat. I've talked to him. He's not a dumb kid at all. So you know what I mean? So he knows. He's just not. He just can't. I don't know why he doesn't want to agree.
Well, listen. As long as he doesn't see our point of view, and if he does understand, like that's what you're saying. You're saying he sees it, but he doesn't want to admit it. That's stupidity right there. When you see the reality in front of you and you refuse to admit it, that's stupidity. And by the way, all these people that are complaining about the CCD and what rep it, go over to his channel. Open door policy, just like we do over here. Go voice your displeasure, go call them racist, but nobody does. I wonder why. I wonder why they don't go over to his channel.
And even if you don't like those type of channels, whatever, like they have 5,000 subscribers, and it's one channel, and then you have for example, 78 Sports, 80,000, I guess. I don't know, something like that. You have another channel that's from the LDB. 30, 40,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. So these are big fucking channels. There's some.
Donkey's got 1,000. Right?
A lot of exactly. How come they have a lot of followers? Well, because there's a lot of people that think like that, and they like those stories, those narratives, those racist narratives.
By the way, Butcher, what's the sign? What's the sign of a cult? When you don't let any dissenting voices in, right? What do they do?
Exactly.
Yes. Now you look at those channels. You look in the chat. They all have everybody in the chat has a wrench. So as soon as you come in and you're an outsider, you type something they don't like, they block your ass.
Yep.
So don't come over here telling us fucking stories that they let everybody in. Come on, stop lying. This is the worst part. You're lying.
That's right.
I would give you more credit if you tell the truth. Just say I'm a racist and I love this shit that they talk about on these channels. But no, you come here and start lying that these channels are open and they're not that racist, so-called racist. Man, everybody can see through your fucking bullshit, and you're just embarrassing yourself.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
That LDBC project that Bucho had to undertake really set him in a bad. It really soured him to the whole LDBC aspect.
Well, he saw it firsthand, up close and personal.
Hours of that footage.
His point.
Wow.
I went on Trill, and I left a comment just to see. I left very slightly negative just to see. I went back 10 minutes later. I could no longer post on any of his so somebody with a wrench blocked me right out. And they do that within usually minutes. They don't want people even to see your negative comments under the video. They work them right out. So that's just to your point.
And then they're like women. They don't even want to say the name of the channel, because they don't want people to go over there and then they get exposed and then they lose money. Listen, fellas, these guys are grifters too. They're playing you based on your skin color. And you're paying them money. You are hoes. That's what they call it in the community, right? Hoes. They're the pimps. You're the hoe. Get down on your knees and look it up. And by the way, hold on.
These guys are laughing at their viewers.
That's a great way of putting it there, Butcher. They're laughing at...
And you use the right word, BDA, a community. You can't compare some dude's channel against a community that, by their own admission, and overnight could have 300 soldiers representing LDBC anywhere in the country. I mean, that came right out of Barbershop Conversations' mouth. Right. Remember?
I got my shooters.
So obviously it's a little different than some fucking drunk dude spurting out some fucking racist shit on his channel,
At the end of the day, we're a boxing channel. We keep it boxing. If you're one of those ghetto ass nimrods that wants to talk, you just watch the black fighters fight, go to those channels. When Ben Rodriguez fights or Inoue fights or Baturbi fight, and they don't cover those fights, what do they do instead? We documented this on one of the shows. They're covering Snoop Dogg. They're covering Crawford versus Spence, more of that bullshit, or they're covering dogfighting. We covered that. I'm telling you, we expose how they're covering that instead of covering those fights. So
prison stories.
Prison stories. So go to those channels, eat it up, and every once in a while we'll let you call in here and call us racist and blah blah blah. But you're not real boxing fans, and you know it, and you got to face the truth. because the truth will set you free. But if you're carrying around a lot of all this load on your shoulders, it leads to a lot of anxiety, stress, and a whole bunch of other psychological ailments that you should really get rid of.
BDA. Yeah, sorry, but I just want to remember. Think about what Dante Boxer Nation did. He's their biggest with 260,000. Just to try to keep somebody in line, he made up that whole thing about out of nowhere saying fucking Shakur Stevens turning his back on his people or disrespecting his people because he said he was proud of his father's Puerto Rican heritage. Just think about it. Just like if you really stop and think about how fucking disgusting that is to even make that video knowing when you have 260,000 followers. Of course, it was all over Twitter. And then, he had to even respond. He felt like he had to respond and defend himself. It's so Shakur himself, it's like any leftist type mentality. It's a circular firing squad. They'll even go after their own, and they will, just to generate, like you said, those clicks and to keep that narrative going. And they were trying. Know what that did? That militarized Shakur. You watch going further, he's going to be real careful about what he says, about the compliments he gives white fighters, about the things he says about his Puerto Rican heritage.